Hello, just a quick note from Garen in editing before we do get into the podcast. Once again, we are discussing Stephen King's novel It and the adaptations that were directed by Andy Muschietti in 2017 and 2019. If you listened to our previous episode, you may be aware of the content warning we placed at the start of that one. Whilst we are not talking about the same specific moment from the novel in this episode, we still think it is worthwhile to put this warning at the beginning, as we are going to be bringing up a number of the themes present within the text and elaborating on an element that is present here that was missing from the 90s adaptation, that being the homophobic attack that takes place early on in the novel and at the beginning of the second movie. As always, listener discretion is advised. Hello, faithful listeners, and welcome to All Hail the King, a podcast where we delve into the mystic, mysterious, and often macabre world of Stephen King adaptations. My name is Garen, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Viv and Joe. On this episode, for 2 weeks, I dreamt of you. Oh, I craved you. I missed you, waiting for this very moment. Time to float. Yeah, we're back.
We're back.
Back again.
Back in Derry. Yeah. It's...
We've already talked about the 1990s one. If you want to hear about that, we will briefly discuss it, but we do have a whole 2.5 hour episode on it.
Yeah.
You can listen to it now. You've probably listened to it already.
And if you haven't, you should, because Garen edited it. You put more effort into editing it.
Yeah, it was the most insane edit I've had to do.
It is a Frankenstein of a podcast.
I think if we consider which one's been the most difficult to edit, it's the Lawnmower Man.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened during Lawnmower Man?
Because we cut out like a good half an hour.
Oh, right, yeah. I remember.
There was The Long Walk, just because we recorded for like almost 4 hours.
Yeah, I cooked with that when I was
and then the last episode we did on the 90s It miniseries was a behemoth.
I'll say now, likewise, this is kind of part 2. I'm not going to talk as much about book development, stuff like that. There's also certain things that happen in the book that we talked about last week that we're not going to be talking about this week, because that's why the episode...
No, please, God, no.
All I'll say on that is, go listen to that.
I might bring it up at the very end.
Oh, no.
I'll just won't use the word.
Yeah, we'll skirt around the wording of it, but you all know what we're referring to. But if you want more discussion of that, check out last episode. We'll give a brief overview of the book. It was published September 15th, 1986, and it's King's 22nd book. And I've read it twice, and I really enjoyed it.
That's surprising.
Did you reread it for this episode?
I didn't reread it for this episode within the last 10 days.
No, you just finished it.
I just finished it again.
Yeah. Well, you said you didn't read the whole book. You said
that's true. No, Viv's right. So by the time we recorded the last episode, I still had a chapter left. And then the next day after we recorded, I finished that chapter. So
it must have been a good chapter, because before that you were just like, I hate this book, and then you read it, just like it all comes together.
It's amazing. No, I do love this book.
That sounds insane, but that has happened to me a couple of times where I've read something and I'm just like, this is terrible, I hate this. And I read the last chapter and it's like,
sometimes the endings pull me together. I will add, seeing as it's something I didn't talk about last week. If you know the miniseries, you know that it ends with Bill riding on his bike with his wife Audra, and I didn't really like that in the miniseries. Reading it in the book made me appreciate it a little bit more. It did feel a bit more emotionally cathartic, but it's only because the book is so fucking long that it feels more earned.
But has our opinions changed on the original miniseries at all in between the time?
I mean, I liked it then, and I like it now.
Yeah, I still have a lot of respect for it. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, because we are going to be discussing our favourite adaptations at the end of the episode.
It's honestly grown on me since that short period of time. It's really stuck with me.
Oh, that's nice.
In a good way. So I'll be great talking about this one.
I think the miniseries, just on a whole, saying that some quality varies, films, TV, miniseries between all of it. You can't really generalize. But But that's kind of how I felt with Salem's Lot, where, I loved the book, but the first time we watched the miniseries, I wasn't sure what to think, and it's genuinely now one of my favourite things we've watched, even though I haven't even rewatched it. Like, I want to get the Arrow release of it.
No, I agree. It's
and go back through
Arrow,
it.
sponsor us. I commented on your Instagram post for a reason.
Send us stuff. We'll big you up. We'll be free advertising.
Give us the Creepshow 2 Blu-ray.
Please. Sorry, Viv, go on.
Whatever.
I'm trying to get us free stuff, Viv.
Thank you.
Get us a longer cable.
So it's Scream's way.
It was
So Joe, what do you...
Let her do it, because otherwise she'll scream and I'll get told off.
Ow. I didn't even hurt. I don't know why I said ow.
Yeah.
Watching all of these in succession, although exhausting, does make you appreciate the overall story. Thank you.
I think I said this last episode about Salem's Lot, funnily enough. By the end of Salem's Lot, I was kind of done with the story, didn't want to touch it. And I said the same to you, Viv, when we were talking yesterday about it casually, about how I am glad that we're taking a break before covering Welcome to Derry, because it lets you appreciate the overall story, but also it's a lot to spend so much time in one. You can delve into it endlessly. There'll always be more to talk about.
For people listening in the future, this is something called foreshadowing before we cover Children of the Corn next year.
Yeah. I mean, Children of the Corn, I feel like, will be a bit different. Yeah. I think Children of the Corn is more of an experiment to see how much we can take. But, I'm excited for Children of the Cornathon. Come back at the start of next year for that. How many fucking Children of the Corns are there? 12?
I think there's 11 movies and one short.
Okay.
So we'd be doing them over 4 episodes.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole 2 months of Children of the Corn, isn't it?
Yeah. And 4 episodes means we have to cover 3 adaptations.
That's insane.
Movies per episode.
Oh, my God.
So, even, we can't even break it down to 2 per episode, because that would still be too long.
Yesterday, I said to Viv, wow, I genuinely think we could do 2 episodes on It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
So it's so funny to think we're going to be covering 3 Children of the Corns per episode.
I don't think there's as much to dig up through.
Exactly. We did that for Carrie. We've covered multiple things in episodes before.
Yeah.
But that's future talk. And
it's the morning. We're raring to go. We could record for 5 hours.
Yeah, we can make this longer than both movies put together.
Yeah.
If we try hard enough.
Maybe we could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, hopefully.
It'll be
I'm trying my hardest not to speak on part 2 yet, because I feel so that's where most of the opinions are.
That's interesting. Well, before we get into our thoughts on part 1 and part 2, Aaron, can you tell us about the making of the movie?
The movie, yes. So, there was talks of there being a remake, a theatrical remake of it since 2009. At that time, a writer-director called David Kajganich, I feel like I got that wrong, David Kajganich,
I feel like Kajganich sounded the most right, but then I've been pronouncing Andy Muschietti wrong the whole time.
Kajganich has worked on movies like The Invasion, which is the 2000s Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and some Luca Guadagnino films like Bones and All, which I personally really love.
Bones and All.
He was working on the project for about 3 years and ultimately got replaced by Kari Joji Fukunaga. Now, Fukunaga's version has a lot more information out there, although the script for Kajganich's is actually available online. You can just go ahead and read it.
And have you read it?
No.
Why not? This episode is incomplete.
I've done a fair bit of research, Viv. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but toot toot.
So they got quite far in it then, if a script was written.
Yeah, so I don't know how many drafts there are, necessarily, but the script was written, and then, for whatever reason, he either left or was replaced. We don't really have the full picture. But Kari Fukunaga, who you may know as directing Beasts of No Nation and No Time to Die. I do just want to preface this. There is a controversy surrounding Fukunaga. something to do with inappropriate comments on sets, which is not great, but he still retains a screenplay credit, but he did not direct the version we are talking about. In his version, though, he did have two people cast. So there was Ty Simpkins, who is the kid from Insidious and Iron Man 3. He was going to play Bill, and Pennywise was going to be played by Will Poulter from We're the Millers, The Maze Runner. You may know him as that guy with the eyebrows.
He kind of cooked with that, I'm not going to lie.
No, I think he'd be great.
No, I remember this.
I remember.
Yeah, this was like really early casting, and I was just like, oh, you know what? I see the vision.
Yeah.
Like even to now, I'm just thinking, damn.
Even since like Son of Rambo days,
Yeah.
I've been a fan of Will Poulter, so
Yeah.
I would really have
Genuinely,
been into that.
as a kid, I remember seeing him in the Chronicles of Narnia: Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Oh God, yeah, he
and
is in
immediately
that.
be like, "Who is this guy?"
Who is this?
Just he's so recognizable because
Yeah.
of his eyebrows.
Yeah.
Maze Runner. We've seen him in fucking tons of films.
Yeah, I think he's a great actor.
Yeah.
But ultimately, when Fukunaga left the project in 2015, so did Ty Simpkins and Will Poulter. Some sources said that Finn Wolfhard was in the Fukunaga version, but he would have been like a year or two younger at that point. I don't know how credible that is. I couldn't really find anything to back it up. But yeah, in 2015, Andy Muschietti, director of Mama and The Flash, Muschietti.
I'm going to
I know,
pronounce
it
it
doesn't
wrong.
sound
I'm
right,
going
does
to
it?
pronounce it wrong a bunch of times coming up.
My ear is popping.
Oh. Even I'm doubting if that's how it's pronounced, even though that's how he pronounces it in the commentary.
Yeah, I think it's the Argentinian accent.
Maybe.
Andy Muschietti, director of Mama and The Flash, came on board in 2015.
Sorry, I forgot about The Flash.
I know, when I was like going on the letterbox, I saw that, I was just like, this makes aesthetic sense. There's certain aesthetic choices that carry over from it that land in The Flash.
Yeah.
That didn't click until I saw it.
Yeah. And it was partially produced by Andy's sister, Barbara Muschietti, and they got the project rolling. By June of 2016, it started filming. Filming lasted until September, and then it came out the following September. Generally, seems to have gone quite smoothly. In a lot of the behind-the-scenes material, you do learn that he purposefully kept the kids away from Pennywise for the first month or like a bit of production. So when they finally got to see him, it was sort of a realistic
Response.
It's like what everyone says about that one scene in Alien with the chest burster.
Yeah, I think that was a genius decision. It's hard to say how it actually plays on screen. From my understanding, the first time they saw him was when they were filming the Nebolt street sequence with the fridge.
So Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays Eddie,
Yeah.
he was the first person to see Pennywise in costume and
I think
work with Bill Skarsgård.
That's a great choice, I think, personally. And, even just having that sort of air of mystery around Pennywise and Bill Skarsgård between him and the kids, because even though, they're acting, they know it's not real, they are also 12, around the age of 12, aren't they?
Yeah, I think most of them were 12, 13. I think Sophia Lillis, who plays Beverly, was the oldest at 14. Either her or Chosen Jacobs, who plays Mike.
And it was her first role, wasn't it?
Yeah, her first major movie role. I was looking at her credits, and apparently she was in Real Housewives of New Jersey or something
really hoping
in
you would
2012.
I was really hoping you would say Beverly Hills and be like, oh, Beverly.
Ah.
Oh, well.
She's in the Chair Company. I found that out.
She is in the Chair Company. She's great in the Chair Company. Honestly, she's a great actress. I love whenever she pops up in things.
Yeah,
I need to watch that Hansel and Gretel.
Gretel and Hansel, is it?
The one where it's like, it looks like an Oz Perkins movie, but it isn't.
Yeah. Well, I've got a lot of thoughts on the actors outside of their roles of it, but I don't know when we want to talk about that.
Yeah, so we can run through the cast.
Let's do that.
The team who made the movie. That's my rendition of the logo.
Awesome.
It's
nice shade of purple.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's purple. because I've used all my other colours.
We briefly talked about this last episode. I just want to reiterate. I do love the font face for this, like the text itself for it. I think it's great.
And also, he does write it on the wall.
For 2 frames.
Yeah, it's blink and you miss it in chapter 2.
Okay, because one of my notes was he doesn't write it. I swear he does.
But there's like a full 10-second shot of it in the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, there we go then.
Okay. So yeah, woo.
We were right. We never get anything wrong.
So the screenplay was written by, as mentioned, Kari Joji Fukunaga, as well as Chase Palmer, who worked on a movie called Naked Singularity, and also Gary Doberman, who we have brought up in the past. He directed the 2024 Salem's Lot.
Yes, I remember now.
And also the Annabelle movies. Is a writer and sometimes a director on those.
That makes a lot of sense.
Cool. Yeah.
His stuff is really buried in the DNA of these movies, I feel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
By that I mean the scare per minute sort of structure of it.
But he's only one of 3 screenwriters on the first one.
I feel his presence. What can I say?
Maybe it'll make more sense a little bit later on.
You're just biased because you're the biggest fan of Salem's Lot 2024 and the only person who's seen that movie multiple times, including in cinema.
That's true.
Yeah. There are quite a number of producers on this movie. As mentioned, Barbara Muschieri, as well as Seth Grahame-Smith. Does anybody know Seth Grahame-Smith?
I do not know Seth Grahame-Smith.
He is a producer, screenwriter, and novelist. He wrote the novels Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter
No way.
and Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Oh, that's sick. I mean, those are, in my opinion, shit trash, but I think he's cool for that.
He was also at one point going to direct a adaptation of The Flash.
Oh,
which
really?
I think every director in Hollywood was going to direct that movie at some point.
Why is The Flash cursed as a property?
I don't know.
Just in film. It's doing fine in TV.
Well, that's the thing. The Flash, we talked about this on First Time Flyers, TV pilot podcast. The Flash is arguably one of the most successful modern superhero CW TV shows. Definitely of the CW ones, but in general, to the point where people were annoyed the movie was getting made because of the show's fan base. But I don't know. Frankly, until you said about The Flash with Andy Muschietti, I'd forgot the movie even existed. And we saw it in cinemas.
We did.
I saw it in cinemas.
Yeah.
Opening day.
I don't know if we saw it opening day. You might be a bigger fan than us.
Didn't Stephen King love it?
He's so cool.
Oh yeah, he tweeted about it. He was just like, I love this.
Yeah.
But
also Stephen gets on with Andy.
Yeah, I know. He shows up on set. That makes much more sense now.
Everybody was paid to say they like it. Tom Cruise liked The Flash. James Gunn.
We got paid to say we like it. Yeah. We love The Flash.
We love The Flash.
I like bits in The Flash.
No, you love all of it.
I just got PayPal from James Gunn. We've also got producer David Katzenberg, who produces the TV show The Goldbergs and also directed a number of episodes of that show. That's another thing that's set in the 80s.
Yeah.
I was getting confused with Katzenberg then.
Jeffrey Katzenberg?
Yeah. For a second, I was like, what?
Also a producer on the 2019 remake of Child's Play, which is Joe's favourite movie.
I have beef with the movie, but it's not the movie's fault.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a fine movie. I'm just
the one where he's a robot?
Yeah.
Shut up, man.
What, me? That's not why I'm mad at it.
No, you.
Okay.
I thought they show Chucky Texas Chainsaw 2.
It's fine.
Everybody
a fine
knows
movie.
Child's Play 3 is the best one.
Aubrey Plaza's in it.
If Chucky
Paperboy's in it.
Paperboy, isn't it?
He's also in the Godzilla movies.
That's true.
He's going to be in Batman Part 2.
Is it?
Sick. If Chucky wasn't an ongoing franchise, I wouldn't care. I just think that, I don't know. I could go on about it for ages.
Yeah. It's a cynical reason why they made the movie, but I do think the movie is kind of not terrible.
Yeah, I don't think I'm in the right. I think I'm being a bitch about it.
To be fair, of the Child's Play movies I've seen, I don't think I dislike any of them. There are ones I prefer.
Yeah.
I'd probably say my least favourite is Viv's favourite, but
I like roller coasters and Chucky's a brother.
There's a lot of stuff in that movie I like. It's just
I don't dislike any of them, but yeah.
We've also got producer Roy Lee, we've spoken about him before. The Long Walk, Weapons, does a lot of producing. So if we don't mention your favourite Roy Lee movie, sorry to all the Roy Lee heads out there. We've also got Dan Lin, who produces the Lego movies and the Sherlock Holmes movies, starring Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, cool.
And then we've got music by Benjamin Wallfish. Worked on the movies Shazam, Mortal Kombat, does a lot of stuff with New Line Cinema, which is something I've just noticed.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if that means anything.
Yeah.
I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street showed up at some point, so...
Yeah, that is true.
That's
well,
like
New
Line.
Line.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is a New Line production. But yeah, he just does a lot of New Line films. Thing with Benjamin Wallfish, because I was listening to the soundtrack on the way over here, he's the kind of composer who I don't think has ever made anything great, but also has never really made anything I dislike.
That's the highest compliment you can give to an artist. I don't hate any of your work.
I like the music in it. I wouldn't really be able to recognize it.
I can't credit him for Mortal Kombat, but it was worth seeing Mortal Kombat 2 in the cinemas just to hear the Mortal Kombat theme.
Yeah, as much as I usually criticize trailer music and stuff like that, the slowly increasing intensity Mortal Kombat theme in the Mortal Kombat 2 trailer did get me kind of hype.
That's dumb.
I know it's dumb.
Me and Val were looking at each other like, Jesus
I don't
Christ.
even remember the trailer, if I'm
yeah,
honest.
I remember seeing it and you looking at Val, and I could see you looking, and I was just like, oh, actually, I think
this goes hard as fuck.
But the editing,
Johnny Cage.
exactly, and the editing with it.
Pennywise.
I'm surprised he's not in.
Stanley Uris.
Because they have like
Beverly Marsh.
They have Freddy and Jason in those games.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too surprised if Pennywise showed up in a Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah, that could happen.
Genuinely.
Is Pennywise in Fortnite?
I don't... Oh my god, is he? He could be.
Because like it'd be such a good idea for his like glider to be the balloon.
Oh my god, is he? Genuinely could be.
Pennywise in Fortnite?
He's got a dance.
Pennywise in Fortnite.
See,
no, he's not.
We're saying we did research. We didn't do the most crucial research.
He's not, but people have talked about it. Is he in Dead by Daylight?
Well, isn't like everyone in Dead by Daylight?
That's why I'm like, is Pennywise?
I'm in Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure the In a Violent Nature guy is in Dead by Daylight.
Pennywise isn't in Dead by Daylight.
Oh.
Yeah. I guess that's more slasher focused, but still, it's Pennywise.
They don't want to water down
icon.
the property. They want to savor the Pennywise brand.
Anyway, when Pennywise is in Fortnite,
we'll do
we'll do a stream. We'll do a stream.
Yeah, Viv and I did pretty good at Fortnite the few times we played it.
Yeah.
Director of photography, Chung Hoon Chung. Spoke about him recently on The Running Man.
Yeah.
Also did Old Boy and Wonka. Interesting career.
Great movie, Wonka.
Wait, which old boy?
The original.
Okay, not the...
not the good Spike Lee one.
Yeah, not the amazing Spike Lee one.
Yeah.
And he did the good Wonka movie.
And he did the good Wonka movie, the only good Wonka movie.
Yeah.
And then I do want to shout out the casting director who worked on both these movies. Rich Delia, also casting director on Scream 2022 and The Monkey, which is another Stephen King thing that we'll get around to at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, this cast is like incredible.
Yeah,
insane cast. Yeah, should we just go down a list and talk about...
So what I'm going to do when we get to chapter 2, I'm going to bring up everyone else who worked on that, who didn't work on this one.
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
A lot of these people do work on both the movies.
Yeah.
If I don't mention them, again, that's because they worked on both or just the first one. Yeah. You'll work it out. We've got Jaden Martell, or Libra, as he's credited in the first movie, as Bill Denbrough. You may have seen him in the movie Midnight Special and The Book of Henry.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's also the little twerp in Knives Out.
Yeah, I was going to say he's the little racist boy in Knives Out. And we will be speaking about another movie he's in relatively soon.
Ooh.
Don't know if you know.
I don't.
If Garrett knows. You'll find out in a month.
Okay. Children of the Corn 25.
Maybe he is, I don't know.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Midnight Special?
I haven't.
Is that the one with Adam Driver?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's an interesting movie. I don't remember liking it. Like, I don't remember hating it, but I don't remember sort of liking it. But I thought the concept was
Michael
really
Shannon
cool.
also in it?
Yeah, Michael Shannon, Joel Edgerton, Kirsten Dunst.
That's cool.
Yeah, great cast.
Yeah.
That was the movie he made directly before this, and credits that for being cast. Jeremy Ray Taylor as Ben Hanscom. He is in Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween, and Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Chip.
I have seen The Road Chip. I can't honestly say I
the one
remember
with John
seeing him in
Waters?
it. Yeah, I think so.
I've not seen it, but I've seen the John Waters scene.
I saw it ages ago. Val and I watched it one night.
Watch
Oh,
it.
you didn't see it in cinemas? You didn't double bill it with The Force Awakens?
No, unfortunately not. Yeah, I really like this casting for Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. I can say that, sorry, every single fucking one of this. I like this
one.
casting.
I like
But
this
I wanted
one.
to shout out Ben specifically. Last episode I spoke a lot about Ben and as being a fat character.
I'll
as
shout
a
out my
fat
favorite
person.
one when they appear.
Yeah, so I think he's great.
We've got Jack Dylan Grazer from Shazam and Friendship. Also, he is in that live-action Spiderwick Chronicles series, which I only found out existed the other day.
he's in that?
He's in that, yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
He plays Eddie Casbrack.
He's one I want to shout out. I thought he was fucking incredible in this.
He's great. I saw him in something not long after it, when I was in uni. We Are Who We Are. It's a series, and he's great in that. But it was so weird because it was after he hit puberty and he shot up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, he's so tall now.
We've got Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things and the new Ghostbusters movies like Afterlife and Frozen Kingdom.
A
as
man is
Richie
trapped in
Tozier.
the 80s.
Okay.
Poor guy.
Is Finn... So I looked at this earlier, but I've kind of confused myself now. Stranger Things come out after this?
Stranger Things came out in 2016.
Yeah.
So
Was this film before?
this was filmed after the first season of Stranger Things.
Okay.
Okay.
This was filmed around the time the Stranger Things was coming out,
Yeah.
and then season 2 of Stranger Things came out a month after the first It.
Okay. That makes sense.
So,
He's also in an episode of Smiling Friends.
is he?
Yeah.
Who is he?
You know, in the pilot, the guy in the wall on the
Oh, that's
computer?
him?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
him.
He's also in the music video for Danny.
No, don't excavate these memories. This is my Pennywise.
The Ninja Sex Party music video for Danny Don't You Know, where he plays a young Danny Sex Band.
Repress it. Okay, it's gone.
I feel,
It's gone.
I feel of all these, Finn Wolfhard has gone on to have the most prosperous career in Hollywood.
Definitely, although I do
Also
think
does music.
Stranger Things is probably carrying it on its back.
Yeah.
And, I don't have much credit. I like Finn Wolfhard. Seems like a cool actor. I don't like a lot of what happens with the Stranger Things kids
Well, that is his fault.
for the rest of them. That's what I was going to say. Like, I think most of those kids are good actors. They're just not given good shit to work with for most of Stranger Things.
At least this Stranger Things kid, does some charity work and does not support Israel.
Yeah. No, Finn Wolfhard seems like a cool guy.
And also doesn't, ghostwrite books.
That's the worst crime in
Yeah,
Israel.
that's way worse than supporting Israel.
We've got Wyatt Olaf as Stanley Uris. He is young Chris Pratt in Guardians of the Galaxy.
He is. I didn't realise that until I was researching this. No.
I recognised him from The Off, even back in 2017 when this came out.
Yeah. I'll hold off on my thoughts on him in a minute. I'll just say he's great because it sounds like I'm alluding to something. It's just I've seen him in something, but it's with someone else that we're going to mention.
I know what you're on about. Yeah. We've also got Chosen Jacobs from Hawaii Five-0 and something else we're going to get onto at some point. Castle Rock. He's in a couple episodes of Castle Rock as Mike Hanlon. He's not in Castle Rock as Mike Hanlon. He's Mike Hanlon in this. I don't know who he is in Castle Rock.
Maybe he is Mike Hanlon.
Yeah. And we've got, rounding out the Losers Club, at least, Sophia Lillis from Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Great movie if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Really, really fun. And The Chair Company, which you have seen.
Which I have seen, which is great.
Yeah.
And she's the girl.
She's the girl. She is in...
Beverly Marsh.
Yeah, she's Beverly. She is also in with... Wyatt Olaf in I'm Not Okay With This, the Netflix series, which is... We spoke about in the Carrie episode for basically being extremely inspired by Carrie.
Yeah.
For whether the author believes so or not.
She's been in 2 Stephen King things.
Essentially, yeah. And she's great in that. So is Wyatt Olaf. They're both
I'm going to say
amazing.
3, because I think there's practically a Carrie scene in this movie.
That's true.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, her and Wyatt Olaf are amazing in that series. I've got a lot of criticisms of it, but they carry it on their backs. They're great actors.
It on their backs.
Hey.
Yeah. I think this is a fantastic cast of kids. But it's not just these kids in the movie. I do want to shout out Nicholas Hamilton as Henry Bowers, as a supporting character. He is in Captain Fantastic. I think he's in Gen V.
Oh, he might be.
He's a character in Gen V. I haven't seen that.
I've seen the first season. I'm bad at recognizing the faces after they grow a little bit.
Also, we will see him again in The Dark Tower.
Really?
Henry Bowers will return in The Dark Tower.
Who knows? Maybe.
He's cooking something.
And last but not least, Bill Skarsgård, Nosferatu, Barbarian, as Pennywise.
He's in Gen V and The Boys. The reason I didn't recognize him is he plays us an invisible hero.
Incredible. Incredible.
Okay, there we go. Fuck.
Speaking of invisible heroes, there's one in Deadpool 2. Not played by Bill Skarsgård, but he is in that movie.
Bill Skarsgård is in
He
Deadpool
plays
2?
Zeitgeist.
Oh, does he?
Do you know who that is?
I do. It was during all that, like...
He's a member of X-Force. I think
Yeah.
he's the one who spits acid.
Yeah, I remember now.
He's in the top 4 of the Skarsgårds.
Yeah.
Easy.
How many Skarsgårds are there?
There's like 4 of them.
Just gonna say
there's,
that.
there's Stellan, who's the father.
Yeah.
You've got Alexander and Bill.
Yeah.
And then you've got another one.
You got the mysterious one.
Yeah, who I think works mostly in Swedish films.
Yeah.
There's also Peter Sarsgaard, who's not related to them.
Yeah. Stellan Skarsgård of Mamma Mia fame.
Stellan Skarsgård, the guy who ran around naked Stonehenge in Thor 2.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was him.
A great actor. He's wonderful in everything he is.
Yeah.
He's feels like he has the most range, but maybe that's just because he's in different weird makeup shit every time I see
we were
him.
talking about this just before recording about Bill Skarsgård. We were talking about him in Nosferatu. He's amazing in that. I mean, to the point, he's so good as a villainous character to the point where in Barbarian, he's cast to throw off the audience into thinking he's a villainous character. And he's fantastic in that movie.
Yeah. He's also in a couple flops.
I'm sure.
I haven't seen The Crow.
Oh,
he's The Crow.
I remember seeing the trailer and thinking, I'm not seeing that.
I remember for like a month or two, we got the Boy Kills World trailer non-stop.
Yeah.
I think he was just like sort of physically fit, and his casting agent was just like, "We need to use this. Let's just throw you in."
Have you seen that trailer?
I don't know. I must have.
It's the one where Bob
Seen
Burgers voices his like inner monologue.
I must have seen it if you've both seen it, but I don't know. But
it was made by that production company that does all the like elaborate martial art sequences, and they make movies around them.
Yeah.
It's like the Love Hurts.
Love Hurts. Fucking great movie.
I don't know if it's like the same company, but it's like one of those types.
Okay.
Say about one final thing about Bill Skarsgård though, just in regards to those like movies you're saying he's in, the flops especially. I feel like maybe a casting director somewhere was like, "Oh, we don't want you to just be the scary monster guy. Let's just get you in some other shit.
Let's expand this stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make you the Crow. Production companies, these will differ between both movies. The first one is produced by New Line Cinema, Cat Smith Productions, Lynn Pictures, Vertigo Entertainment, and Rat Pack Dune.
What's wrong with them?
So Rat Pack Dune is a company. The Rat Pack part of Rat Pack Dune is Brett Ratner.
Oh, I've heard of him.
Yeah. Famed sex offender, director of X-Men The Last Stand.
Oh, it's
and
him.
Melania.
I remember now.
What's up with X-Men and like
getting that's the thing. See, I'm always thinking about Bryan Singer. I always forget there's a second guy.
Yeah, a second sex offender has directed an X-Men movie.
His name also begins with B.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only have the only. Actually, no. Bryan Singer did X1 as well, didn't he? X-Men.
Bryan
okay.
Singer directed 4 of the X-Men movies.
Okay, never mind. I was going to say I've got the only one on VHS that's not directed by a sex offender. That is not true.
No.
100% of my X-Men VHS is directed by sex offenders.
I think at this point, because of how many X-Men movies they've made, most of them are not directed by sex offenders, which is good.
That's good.
However, the one who gets the most hate is still Sean Levy.
Oh, yeah.
The best one. So the best ones are made by sex offenders, so you need a sex offender to make a good X-Men movie.
Well, that's how you feel about most
X-Men 2
films.
might be one of my favourites.
Yeah.
That's how you feel about most films, though.
That is true, actually.
Yeah.
And this was distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures. Warner Bros. Acquired New Line around 2007, 2008 because The Golden Compass was a big flop and they needed a buyout. New Line Cinema now distributes stuff as well, independently of Warner Bros., but at the time, Warner Bros. Was their distributor. This had a budget of $35 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that can you give me a comparison as the person who never understands
tiny.
budgets?
Okay,
Yeah.
So The Running Man, which we spoke about 2 episodes ago, that had a production budget of $110 million.
Holy shit. That's fucking tiny compared
And
to
then if you think, so like The Marvels, that had a production budget of like $360 million.
that. Oh, 35 million.
35
Shit,
million.
yeah, that's tiny.
This made at the box office $719.8 million.
That is insane.
This is a huge hit. This is the highest grossing Stephen King adaptation. The next highest that isn't It Chapter 2, we'll come on to that, was The Green Mile. And The Green Mile had a box office of $286.8 million.
Fucking hell.
It hit at the exact right moment of 80s nostalgia.
Yeah.
Stranger Things.
Straight after Stranger Things. It is still surprising, though, because
the nostalgia for the original was starting to ramp up. It was like during that sort of cycle.
It kind of appeals to everyone. What was the age certification for this? Was it
So,
18 or 15?
In the UK, a 15. In America, it was rated R.
That's perfect as well, because you get all age groups then. Of just everyone coming in to see this. I mean, I knew it was a success, obviously. The fact that it's still a continuing franchise.
The reference for part 2 of part 1 makes sense when you see those numbers.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like...
when you think about this, like, it needed, like, what, 70 million to break even, and it got 10 times that, and then some.
Also, clowns were in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, clowns
Killer
were
Clowns.
in the zeitgeist.
I've got a story about a killer clown who went to Viv and I's school. I won't repeat it here, but it's on the First Time Kings episode where we talk about...
It was just a guy in a clown costume.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Okay.
Viv is offended as someone who wants to go to clown college.
Yeah.
They weren't real clowns. They weren't entertainers.
During... I'll just restate it very quickly, During the craze of that time when people were dressing up as killer clowns, someone from our school... Well, he had left at that point, dressed as a killer clown, went by an infant school, so a school for, 4 to 7-year-olds dressed as a killer clown, and got sued by another clown and ended up on Judge Rinder.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see Judge Rinder angry at the BAFTAs because a Gaza documentary won an award?
Oh, that sucks. I mean, it sucks that Judge Rinder's a piece of shit. It sucks that Gaza documentary.
He's a judge. What do you expect?
That's true.
The only judge I respect is Dredd.
Yeah.
Maybe Judy.
I don't know. Judy...
Judge Judy and Executioner.
Depends. I have to look more into Judy's beliefs.
I'm just gonna throw a guess out there. I'm gonna guess she's quite conservative.
That's what I think. Well, you never know. Some people surprise you. People think Stephen King is extremely
He's a liberal.
right-wing.
He's like the liberal
I know.
author.
Yeah, we fucking know that. But the amount of people, I'll go into this when I talk about Queer Corner and stuff later, who are just straight away I don't know, I don't trust this guy because he writes racist characters. And, but we'll talk more about that later.
Very good at writing sex offenders. Suspicious King. Care to comment?
What about Judge Dredd? Is he okay? I know he's judge, jury, and executioner. He is a cop.
I do like Carl Urban.
I like Carl Urban.
But also British Underground Comics.
As a character, great. If Judge
As in,
Dredd
if that's a bad sign?
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to make the case that he's good.
Oh, right.
If as a character, great. If he was a real dude, absolutely not. Anyway.
I really like the 2000 AD comics. I got a huge hardback book of them.
Yeah, you got a nice set of them.
This was released on September the 8th, 2017, worldwide. Some places it was released a day earlier, but September 8th was damn near universal around the world. This had some pretty positive reception. IMDb users give this 7.3 out of 10. Letterboxd users, 3.5 out of 5. Metacritic, 69 out of 100. Nice. Rotten Tomatoes critics, 85%. Rotten Tomatoes audiences, 84%.
This is why you never listen to critics. Sorry, Bob.
And a cinema score of B+.
I'm genuinely kind of surprised the cinema score is not higher.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about how fucked cinema score is.
Usually
anyway,
horror films skew towards
they do. It's
lower.
really low. Not many horror films get A's, but if fucking any. But if one was going to, I'm kind of surprised it wasn't this.
It seems like the biggest crowd pleaser film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I know, but
But also cinema score is only like in, I think it's like New York and Phoenix.
I can't remember what episode it was, but one of our episodes we delved into it and I did a full breakdown of exactly how it works. And
if cinema score's available, I'll try and provide it, but it's not really something I put too much.
I find it interesting to hear about what the cinema score is, but I'll never use it as a basis
Wicked
of a movie.
for Good get like an A+ cinema score?
Well, so did like the Taylor Swift Eras Tour thing, because that's the thing.
So that deserved
pandering.
it.
Yeah, that's good, but I love both of those movies, weirdly enough. But it's that whole thing with the cinema score of it's a lot of it is based on expectations and the audience that's seeing it, which you could say about most review scores. It's the whole discussion of audience score versus critic score. It's like, oh, the critic score's low, but the audience score's high. That means it's a good movie. It's like, well, no, it depends on who it's made for.
I don't trust anybody's opinion other than my own. Because you never know what you're gonna like.
We know.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying this because sometimes you see a movie and you're just like, oh, okay, that looks like I'm really gonna enjoy it. And like this happened the other day. I watched a movie and I was really excited. I was just like, that looks great. It seems like my cup of tea. And I watched it and I was just like, I kind of don't fuck with this.
Which movie was that?
It was Phantom of the Paradise.
Okay, I
which I really wanted to like. I didn't.
All right, let's move on.
It.
No.
I don't want to talk to Garen about Phantom of the Paradise.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No, I love
you
that
love it.
Yeah. And I don't want to talk to him about that because I will genuinely stick my thumb in his fucking eyes.
I have not seen it.
But that's the thing. I wanted to like it. Sadly, I didn't.
Yeah. I will watch it, and I will be the be-all and end-all of opinions. Because as we all know, I'm great at forming my own opinions. I'm never influenced.
You always skew more Garen's opinion than mine.
Do you genuinely think that?
I 100% think that.
That's really interesting. I'm not going to disagree, I just never noticed that as a pattern.
But the reason I say I don't trust anyone's opinion other than my own is because everybody's different and everyone's got their own opinions on stuff.
Shut up!
I trust some of my friends' opinions more than others. I will not elaborate.
What? Yeah,
That's not about you two.
Val doesn't count, Joe. Have you played Bioshock?
I think you're all vessels.
It would be boring if we all had the same opinion.
We get excited when we come out of something with different opinions. Maybe that'll be relevant later. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So those are my production notes.
Fantastic.
So now, if we're going by the structure that I wrote,
don't say that.
General thoughts.
Movie thoughts.
It's meant to feel natural.
Well, yeah, we'll get that. General thoughts.
Oh yeah, that's way more natural. General thoughts.
General
thoughts. At your service.
It 2017 is a film directed by Andy Muschietti. It stars a clown.
You sound like fucking... The amount of... I've noticed this recently.
Number 3, Squidward's penis is on his face.
That's not what I mean. The amount of fucking... I've been going on a lot of social media looking for different opinions about it. And so I've been on TikTok and Instagram. Every other fucking Instagram page is fucking AI. And I know it sounds stupid to say that, but it's like a clip from the movie and then an AI description of the entire movie.
I watched an AI video. It was like 3 minutes long, explaining the plot of Dot and Bubble.
Really?
And it was like...
I think you sent this to us.
I guarantee you, Rusty has watched that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they changed stuff. Just like, in the future, people are just like, this. Her name is Anna. Just like, no, it's Lindy Pepperbean, you fucks.
Fucking idiots. Anyway. The AI told me to like this movie.
Yeah. Did you like it?
No, I'm joking. I fucking love this movie.
Yeah?
Yeah. I love it, Chapter 1. I think it's fantastic.
Did you see this in cinemas together, or...?
Did we?
We saw Chapter 1 and 2 as a double bill together.
Did we?
Yes, we did. I know we did. I don't know.
I remember about chapter 2, because I remember you had just moved to uni.
Yeah.
And I had a house party at my place, and you came over and we talked about it. But
Yeah.
we'll get onto that later.
I don't remember. I saw chapter 1 in cinema. Absolutely. I don't remember.
Maybe we did see it together.
We saw it in...
this is going on 10 years now.
Yeah.
I remember when opening day this came out, I had stayed over yours the night before.
Yeah.
And then I went to go see it with our mutual friend, Kerith. I really like this movie. I do have more that I want to say in regards to my thoughts on them as a whole later on, but this is damn near a perfect adaptation of that part of the book, I think. And I've said this before, especially on our episode discussing Welcome to Derry. And anytime child actors are involved, I do kind of... I try not to give them slack for being bad, but when they're good, I really want to shout that out. And this has got 7 incredible child performances.
Yeah.
Like, in any movie, they would be the highlight, and there's 7 of them here as an ensemble. To be able to pull that off is a miracle.
We've said in past episode about how being able to get a good performance out of children is often based on directing as well. And between this and from what I've seen of Welcome to Derry, Andy Muschietti seems like he's genuinely really good at working with kids at this age.
Yeah. And everybody speaks really highly of him and the way they work together. I know he did The Flash, which is gonna come up, but he's a really good director of working with these actors and meeting them on their level. Like, even in the behind the scenes, you just sort of see him talking to like background artists, and they seem to be really like into it.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids, the directors wouldn't even go near him and be like, "Oh, that's the acting coaches to deal with," and then it can come off stilted.
Andy Muschietti said in one of the behind the scenes about how he would ask the kids their opinions on the scenes before filming them. Ask them what they sort of wanted to go for.
Yeah. A lot of directors will treat children as if they are, not real actors.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's meeting them on their level. And it makes sense how, and this is the only time I'm going to briefly break our structure, because I want to talk about something in chapter 2, because it's very specific. There's a reason why one of his directing idols is Peter Bogdanovich. How he makes a cameo in chapter 2, because he directed Paper Moon, which has one of the best child performances of all time.
Yeah, Paper Moon's incredible.
What are your general thoughts, Smith?
I used to love this film. There's still, like, the parts I love about it, I still do genuinely love. Like, the general character stuff, obviously the child performances are just incredible. Having gone through a lot of child performances in this, like, you get, like, Stephen King, honestly, he has some of the best, like, kid
characters.
Characters of, like, probably, like, any writer I can think of.
Like Duddits?
But just his stories often involve kids. Obviously, we'll talk about some more iconic ones in the future, including Stand By Me, and I'm sure there's more. But the whole age range, you've got Carrie as teenagers, Salem Slot, obviously.
He's able to, like, give them like a level of depth that is just, like, not that common.
Yeah.
And seeing them with this much talent behind them is just like, this is great. And they have, like, this real camaraderie. It's shown, like, behind the scenes stuff as well. Obviously that's used for, like, marketing, so they're gonna pick, like, the best bits to make them look more like their friends. But still, you could feel that on the screen.
Yeah.
However, there is still, like, there are certain structural elements of this where I think it really brings it down, especially in the light of chapter 2 coming out.
Yeah.
Because if you look at this in its own context, in its own film, it works extremely well. Once you see it as the first part of a larger story, I feel as though it can be sort of detrimental to the viewing experience. At least it was for me.
That's really
interesting.
Also,
the general,
I think a lot
sound
of that
design drove me insane. I hate this kind of sound design in horror so much.
I think to the point you were making before about how in retrospect with chapter 2, things change. Obviously it's hard to separate those. I feel like that's something we would just have to discuss separate to this.
Yeah.
Just so that we're not all over the place.
I'm not going to talk about chapter 2 yet.
No, it is just sort of... It's difficult to separate them because they are so interwoven, but they were made independently.
Yeah. To give our context to the listeners for our thought process is this film was made... Chapter 1 was made as a basis of it might be the only one they get.
Yeah.
So that's why we're trying to separate them in our discussion to meet the film where it's at.
This wasn't a Lord of the Rings situation where they...
But even with all that, watching this on its own, there's a certain repetition with a lot of scenes that I did find kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
I love when all the characters get together and they can like breathe within the scene. They're able to like communicate in a way that is often not depicted on screen, and I love that.
Is it like the separate scenes of, okay, we're going to discover Eddie's fear?
We're going to have to go through the cycle of it, and I don't find it scary, especially outside of a context of a cinema, which is often relying on the audio to sort of startle you. That's what I was referring to earlier with the writer who worked on like Annabelle. You could see that DNA.
Yeah.
I know that sort of style of Blumhouse horror is quite popular.
Yeah.
It works for like a large demographic of horror viewers. They want a certain amount of scares within the film, otherwise they get annoyed. And I can understand that. I find it extremely tedious and not effective at all. The best horror, I think, is when it downplays it. I know that's not to everyone's taste, but seeing it in here does annoy me. It feels like two separate movies colliding together and fighting against each other this entire time.
Have you seen Mama? Out of curiosity.
I haven't seen Mama.
Okay.
I've seen Mama, but ages ago.
I feel this is more in Mama territory than it is in Gary Doberman's like Annabelle.
I disagree. Yeah. Every time the jump scare sound effect thing, it felt so Blumhouse-esque. I know it isn't.
I know, but you saying you haven't seen Mama.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be overlap. I'm not saying it was all him, but that sort of thing shares a lot of DNA within like those sort of films, which I find annoying.
I think I agree with your criticisms. The reason they don't necessarily bother me is I think the way I approach this film, having read the book, having seen the miniseries, of not expecting to be scared, which is dumb because it is a horror movie. Objectively,
I'm not annoyed by the fact I wasn't scared. I'm more kind of annoyed at how it's trying to go through that.
That's fair. What I mean is less so I'm not expecting myself to be scared, more in a sense of I see it as a story, as of course it's meant to be horror, but more fantastical adventure style in my head, which obviously reframes.
I like those elements. Those are my favorite parts of it. That's why I think I was getting at when I was saying watching these made me appreciate certain elements of the miniseries a lot more.
Yeah.
And how this is obviously like because of the budgetary reasons. They're not able to show every single horror thing. With this, everything is amped to 11.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just get blood in the sink. You get the whole fucking room covered in blood.
Yeah.
And like, this isn't just a sewer. This is a fucking huge dome of a sewer.
I don't feel like it goes to 11 in every respect. I do think... I do completely agree with the blood in the sink scene wholeheartedly. I don't think every scene is like that.
No, not every scene. But even like the kind of simple horror scenes, it is framed in like a...
Yeah, I understand. It's interesting because I've mentioned in past episodes how I've been kind of trepidatious to revisit it, especially Chapter 2, as I hadn't rewatched that before preparing for this, because of Andy Muschietti's maximalist style. Yeah. And we spoke about this, me and Aaron, when we did the first episode of Welcome to Derry on First Time Flyers, where the first time I watched that, I was kind of like, oh, have I aged out of this style? But weirdly, revisiting it has kind of reignited my joy for it.
Yeah.
I just find it fun. I think in a lot of cases it wouldn't work for me. I definitely think there's moments where it goes too far. For example, I hate the repetition of "You'll Float Too" or in Chapter 2, the "You Lied and I Died." I hate that sort of thing where it's just, oh, he's saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
that's creepy. It's like, no, it's not. But
on the other hand, what I think this does so much better is it elevates certain themes that I feel so were just very buried within the miniseries.
Yeah.
Which I'll discuss when we talk about like the series as a whole. But there's certain elements which they definitely highlight and emphasize in ways which I think elevates a lot of the subtext in an interesting way.
Yeah.
Which sounds very vague, but I will go into more depth later on.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, it's a mixed bag. But it may be. Is it hard to say? It's not tainted because of the new one, but I can't separate them.
You can age out, and different things can provide a different context.
Yeah, I feel as though this has existed in such a specific context, and going back to it.
Yeah.
If we didn't have chapter 2, obviously it's hard to say what your opinion would be because things would be different. But
we're living in a post. Stranger Things is now done. The whole 80s craze has come and gone, and people are fucking sick of it. So going back to this specific depiction of it, I do think it holds up a lot better than most of the other ones. Like, I think it's way better than like the Ghostbusters one, or definitely Stranger Things. I think. I think it's the best of that batch. But I still think a lot of the problems within those sort of genre, is still present within this.
I actually saw something where they were comparing it to Super 8. Have you seen Super 8?
I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen Super 8.
And I think I feel like it's a less obtrusive thing in it compared to stuff like Stranger Things and Super 8, because it's not referencing everything every moment. It's not like you'll see in the background there'll be a poster for Lethal Weapon or Nightmare on Elm Street, but they're not saying, there's some like crazy thing. Like because it's New Line, they could have easily had one of the kids' fears been Freddy Krueger and have Pennywise take on the form of Freddy Krueger.
This is something saying, as I think I'm the only one of us who's finished Stranger Things or watched most, like,
I've seen
three.
Three.
That was my least favourite part of the most recent season. And granted, I've not liked Stranger Things much since season 1. I just watched it because everyone was talking about it and I was like, I might as well finish it. And it's funny because I, at the time, hadn't even seen this film, but in season 5, there's so many fucking verbal references to Back to the Future. And I hadn't seen that until recently. And it's a fucking great film. I understand why it's so popular. But it was to the point where it's just, this isn't dialogue anymore. You're just saying words. It felt like Big Bang Theory.
Just like, you're not saying things, this is just dialogue.
It felt like Big Bang Theory, where it's like, they'd just name drop 5 things and then a laugh track would play. But,
I do admire it for never going that far.
Have you seen that one clip from the Big Bang Theory? It's a TikTok. I think it's Lyle from Only Plays.
I think
and
so.
It's them like saying, "Okay, we're gonna play for the TARDIS." And it's
exactly.
Team Thundercats versus Transformers, and then laugh track.
They just stops it, doesn't he, and flips out. Yeah, I've seen that. But saying that though, even though I'm saying that they'd handled the change well, like in terms of making it the 80s instead of the 50s, I'm very curious about the context that choice was made in, because of the fact, if this was made concurrently with Chapter 2, and they were thinking, Chapter 2 we want to be modern day, so to make that work it needs to be the 80s. But obviously it doesn't seem like that's the case because of the fact that this was made as an individual film.
Yeah. I think they always had the plan
of making a second one.
Because I'm pretty sure they would have some sort of research going on at the studio. Like, okay, obviously a lot of people really like the 90s It's a popular thing. It's projected to make this much.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure with a $35 million budget, even if it wasn't as successful as it was, it would be successful enough to have a sequel made.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of knew, like, it's a pop culture icon. It's one of the best-known, best-selling horror books of all time from the best-selling horror author of all time.
Yeah.
I think
they probably had a plan.
Yeah.
And,
considering how fast they went into production on Chapter 2 as well.
Yeah. Cynically, you could say, they only made it the 80s because of the whole nostalgia thing. But it does kind of work with the 27-year loop. However, I did want to ask your opinion on this, and we might dip our toes in with chapter 2 as well, although not much because of the modernization. But I wanted to compare this to Salem's Lot 2024, because that's obviously a period piece where it takes place in the 70s when the book's originally set. And we criticised that for how clean everything is and how it doesn't actually look like the 70s, especially because we had a mini-series.
Yeah, I will definitely give credit to the production design of it all, because this definitely feels, it captures a sort of grimy brownness of the 80s that a lot of the other 80s like things like don't really want to touch.
Yeah, even Stranger Things doesn't really do that.
Did you spot the 2015 Hyundai in the background?
I did not. I can't say I did.
I didn't. I thought you were going to be like, did you spot Christine?
And I just want to make it clear, I don't think it's bad that it's set in the 80s.
No.
I think, honestly, that decision was probably the smartest to do it. It's easier to set something in the 80s than the 50s.
Yeah.
Like, with like that budget as well.
Yeah.
I think that was like quite a smart decision, not just in terms of the marketing.
Yeah, because of course, with the fact of if they were planning to do
Joe Bingo,
if they were planning to do chapter 2, obviously, if they had set chapter 1 in the 50s, chapter 2 would have had to be set in the 80s.
Yeah.
So that would have limited them in different ways then.
I also don't know if this is a consideration, but even today, I see a lot of, at this point, it's usually AI slot, but there'd be a lot of like Photoshops and stuff of it chapter 3. I feel like, I don't know if they would be thinking, if we did one in the 50s and one in the 80s, would people be expecting us to do a chapter 3 another 27 years after?
Yeah, that's fair. I can kind of understand that, because even though they're doing Welcome to Derry going back in time, which I think makes perfect sense, especially with the interludes in the book and things like that we'll talk about when we do Welcome to Derry in the future, it's a good question if people might consider, okay, does Pennywise come back? And to be fair, the film makes a definitive statement on that.
Yeah.
But the book doesn't. As far as I'm concerned, in my reading of it, it kind of does imply that the cycle's broken for now, but maybe in the future, who knows?
One more thing I wanted to, just a sort of a general criticism of chapter 1, is not just like the horror stuff, but by having it be its own singular film of just the kids. Because like, how else are you going to execute this idea of two basically parallel stories, like cutting back and forth, and then they chose to split them? I can understand that. However, what you've got to kind of do is create a complete arc of this one and more or less reset it in 2.
Yeah.
So when it was getting to this and they're overcoming the obstacles, all I could feel was just like, yes, but you basically got to retread all of this again later on, so it can feel even more like it's like just retracing its steps a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Well, Barbara Muschietti says in the behind the scenes features, the children portion of the book is like 300-400 pages.
Yeah,
and it's like 1,200 pages in total. So I think in what they're doing to make part 1 a complete narrative in its whole and cohesive, they are kicking the can down the road for chapter 2, which obviously is something that they probably thought they would be able to make, but isn't a guaranteed. So in doing that, what they've done to the benefit of chapter 1 is a hindrance to chapter 2.
Yeah.
And look, if they had a Lord of the Rings situation where they went out and made them both back to back, I feel like there would be a lot more cohesion.
Or even that, like,
but maybe
them cuts we were like kind of alluding to, where it's like putting them together.
Perhaps,
I don't think that would work, because this is 2 distinct like arcs in movies.
I don't
know
when
you
splice them, but
yeah,
we will talk about that at the end, because I do have some updates on that.
Yeah. Before talking about like the updates and such, I'd be interested to see that version, but I'd obviously be more interested to see a version where they were able to make an intercutting version.
Yeah.
But then as the person who read the book, and Viv, you've seen this, I alluded to it last week, there's a video essay, the one that got me to read the book, by Mert KK. I forgot to shout them out last episode. And they spoke in the book about how they personally, as when reading the book, struggled to get into the stakes, because of course you were cutting back and forth between the adults and the kids, knowing everyone but Stanley is alive. And that for them, that meant that the scares and the confrontations with Pennywise read as really empty. I personally didn't, but I can understand how that might affect a general audience in a similar sort of thing, where for them, the book really dragged because of those scenes. And I can imagine maybe the movie might have a similar criticism if it was cutting back and forth in that sort of way.
I don't know how much this theory holds. So obviously, tell me if you think I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But me and Joe, our first experience with it was the miniseries.
Yes.
Whereas yours was this 2017 adaptation. So I don't know if that means we are more lenient on chapter 2 because we kind of know what happens.
I think I remember.
I knew what happened beforehand.
I know, but you hadn't seen the full. You hadn't seen the full picture.
I got it through cultural osmosis. Like, sure, I didn't sit down, but I understand where I was going for.
Even less you specifically, more just other people.
Okay.
Because I remember saying to you about, I think I remember having a conversation with you about it when the film first came out and was a success, of saying, oh, so the next one's going to be just the adult stuff. People aren't going to like that. And obviously, I don't know about with the scores and things. I actually don't know what the general takeaway for chapter 2 is yet, but I imagine that would have affected people going into it, especially even if they were familiar with the book, like I was kind of going into chapter 2 expecting it to have those pitfalls.
Yeah. And also, having the children as the leads is probably inherently more compelling, and more people are likely to empathize and feel connected to them because everybody has been 13 years old. Not everybody has been 40 and having to confront their 13-year-old trauma.
Yeah, completely makes sense. There's a couple scenes I wanted to discuss, essentially, sequences, and I want to get your opinions on, mainly because of the style as well with the horror. I just wanted to see what you thought of these.
Okay.
So for me, one of the iconic, well, not even just for me, for a lot of people, one of the iconic scenes from it is the rock fight. What is your opinion on this version of the rock fight compared to the miniseries?
Honestly, for me, I don't have any strong opinions on either of them. I don't think I saw it as like a really cathartic moment. I know in the last episode you talked about how you got emotional at that scene. I feel in this one, I'm not entirely sold on the music choice.
That's what I was going to say. It feels like it's definitely played more almost for comedy.
That's what I was
rather than emotional catharsis.
Because like you said, I did get emotional in the rock fight. I think like that's a turning point for the Losers Club. That's when they band together as like the definitive Losers Club. In this, the music choice, the slow-mo, the way it's shot, it does feel like it's a comedic scene rather than...
Feels like it's trying to go for something more John Hughes.
Yeah, because the rock fight is arguably the turning point where they're thinking, we've taken down the bullies, we can take down Pennywise.
Yeah.
And I just didn't get that in this version. That's one of the things I definitely think comparing it.
Right? I mean, at least in my opinion, I didn't get that in the last adaptation.
I definitely see where you're coming from. I agree that in the original I felt more emotional.
Yeah.
It wasn't played for laughs. It was more played for like a bonding experience, I feel.
Yeah.
Is it just a miniseries exclusive thing of them taking the photo? Or is that in the book as well?
I'm going to be honest, I can't remember, but it is a detail I love in the miniseries.
Yeah.
I think that it's so cute.
I really like that aspect of it, them taking the photo. Less so the rock fight.
But, for me, that I just think that is a very impactful scene for the story.
Yeah.
But, and another sequence I want to talk about, and interestingly, obviously, compared to the book, this is a sequence that's completely unique to this. Nothing like this happens in the miniseries. Is the sequence in Neibolt House with them exploring the doors, exploring the rooms, Eddie breaking his arm. Their first confrontation with Pennywise as a group.
Yeah.
What did you think of that sequence?
I thought, at least in terms of action or scares or, just general things going on, I would see that as the highlight for most people.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting. I like how at that point it feels like they are going there. They're actually proactive in the story. They're going to Pennywise, and I think the whole setup. Yeah, it's a little, horror filmy.
Yeah.
Let's go into the room with all the clowns.
Yeah.
One of them looks like Tim Curry. But I really enjoyed that sequence.
I do. I think that is it Jack Dylan Grazer?
Young Eddie, yes.
Young Eddie. I think his acting carries that. All the kids are great, and especially in that sequence when they're all screaming about stuff. But Eddie, after he breaks his arm and Pennywise is coming towards him,
that was a great physical
the best
performance
scene in this movie, in my opinion. And I do love that. I'm sure, we'll talk about the characters as a whole when we talk about chapter 2 in a minute. But I love the detail of it being Bev who hurts him. This is something I spoke about last episode, and it's mostly relevant just for chapter 1, of Pennywise capturing Bev and putting her in the deadlights.
So turning it into a
damsel in distress. I do not like that.
I don't like it
especially
either.
with this version of Bev, who is so strong.
Yeah.
I just don't think that makes sense
I
narratively.
wanted to just say, obviously the themes of sexual abuse are in the miniseries as well.
Yeah.
This one, it's much more head on.
Yes.
They really they lampshade it. They want you to make you aware of it, and I do really appreciate that about this. But then flipping it to Beverly say by all of them, which I just don't think makes that much sense. I think it would have made more sense if, say, I don't know, Ian Stanley or
Stanley,
something.
because
Well, Stanley
Eddie,
Stanley does get separated from them in the sewers, and that's a conscious thing because when we get to chapter 2, he is the only one who's left Derry but remembers.
Yeah, he is definitely the most impacted by what happens. So it would make sense, I think, if Stanley was the one who saw the deadlights.
Yeah.
And I know that they wanted to add the whole thing of Bev seeing the future and having all their deaths, but I have my whole other opinion about that.
In the commentary, Andy Muschietti says, we did that in chapter 1 because we wanted to set something up for the payoff in chapter 2. We didn't know at the time exactly what the payoff was going to be, but
yeah, you can tell.
Yeah. I understand it from a point of view, and I think I can see the rationale. I don't entirely agree with it, but I do just want to say that one bit where Bev hits her dad with the toilet, and then she moves and Pennywise is there. That got me. I forgot that was happening. That's a rare point in a horror movie that actually shit me up.
Anytime a horror movie does not a silence, slow, and a jump scare's coming. Anytime it's quick. Yeah. We talked about...
It felt like such a natural jump scare.
Darren and I saw Hokum not that long ago, and that's got a lot of moments where it's slow and drawn out. It's okay, something's coming. And there's one moment in that where it's a similar scene where a character is moving and then suddenly there's something and it doesn't even play a big sound, and that got me. Yeah. It's just
those are the best kind of jump scares.
Yeah.
And not to big myself up, I don't tend to find a lot of horror movies scary. I didn't think this was all that scary, but that did get me.
Yeah.
So I do want to give it props for that.
That's completely fair.
Because it catches you off guard, which is what a good jump scare is meant to be.
Last thing then, before we talk about chapter 2, how did we feel about just the end confrontation with it? Because obviously, in the miniseries, based on what you've seen, which is very similar to the book, it's a silver slingshot.
Yeah, completely changed.
Yeah, it's a lot more interactive now with all of them getting involved, rather than just
I love that behind
shooting.
the scenes bit with Bill's guy. You ready to beat the shit out of me? And he's high-fiving them. That is so endearing.
Yeah, genuinely. And I think that's a great choice of all of them simultaneously confronting their fears, and Pennywise's head shifting. Obviously, they have references to the mummy, which doesn't really make sense in the film because we don't have the mummy as a fear. But and it ending with Bev's dad and Bev being the final blow in that, I think is very effective.
Yeah, I agree.
But we also have the gun.
Yes.
The cow killing gun. I don't know. Is there a name for that?
A bolt gun, I think.
Gun. Yeah.
It's like the one from No Country.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, they all believe that shooting Pennywise with the bolt gun is going to kill it.
Yes.
But in that moment, we have Mike and we have Bill, who are the only ones in that moment who know that it's not loaded.
Yeah.
And it's more so a thing of the group believing that they can kill it is what does stop it.
Yeah.
And that then becomes a recurring
Yeah,
thing.
that's a great payoff for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't beat you over the head, but you immediately get it.
Yeah. Just the quick line of, wait, it's not loaded, pull, it still works. Great. Yeah. Very effective.
There are a few deleted scenes from Chapter 1.
Yeah.
Most of which are not really anything... like, I can see why they're cut. There's a lot more of Bill's parents.
Yeah.
You actually get, like, a coda to the movie where they go on a holiday, which is set up in another deleted scene, and Bill's mother kind of, like, is like, look, I'm hurting, but I still love you.
Yeah, it feeds a lot more into Bill's arc of blaming himself about Georgie.
Like, I feel like, having seen those deleted scenes, I could see a few of them slotting into a supercut. There is one deleted scene, though, that I really wish was in the movie, just full stop, and it's more of a setup for Patrick Hockstetter and his dad.
Do you mean...
Not Patrick, Henry Bowers and his dad.
Patrick is in this movie. I bigged up Patrick's chapter last week.
So is Belch.
Yeah.
But, I forgot he was in it. So
did you like it when he did the burp?
I did like it when he did the burp.
Patrick isn't... He's his book character in the sense of when Henry is threatening Ben, he's the only one who's like into it with him, whereas the others are a bit like, this is a bit too far. Yeah. But the whole stuff with Patrick from the book doesn't get included. He just gets killed by Pennywise in a normal way.
Yeah. But the Henry and his dad deleted scene, I think that's really crucial setup. I feel like you still kind of get the catharsis in the movie.
Yeah.
But having seen that is like, oh wow, okay, that should definitely be in there, because that provides so much more context and so much more emotional catharsis to that scene.
I think I said about this last week, I always struggle with those sort of characters where they're abusive and horrible, which of course Henry is, but they're also victims, and it's because it's so complex. I think the actor, I can't remember his name.
Nicholas Hamilton? Yes.
Yeah. I think he plays it so well. In the scene that's included in the movie where he's shooting the gun and he's acting all big, the way he shakes once his father gets there and he won't even look at him, he does so well.
I thought he was great. For some reason, I remembered the actor who played Hockstetter in that role, and it was reversed. Yeah. But I think that's just because I've seen him in more stuff. Yeah. The actor is Owen Teague. He's...
Yeah, I heard his name, even though...
Yeah, he's... Probably the biggest thing he's done is he was the lead in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Oh, okay. He is on a mocap, but... Yeah.
He is a monkey.
He is a monkey.
Mocaps and monkeys. They go hand in hand.
We're not acknowledging the best deleted scene, though, which is the cut where Georgie gets the boat back and the movie doesn't happen. I remember seeing that years ago and just thinking someone like... I don't know, not fake, because it's obviously Bill Skarsgård saying shit, but assuming like a fan stitched it together, I didn't realise it was something they made.
It is really funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to go through a few notes on the production of Chapter 2. As far as making the movie, as soon as the first one came out, they got to work on the second one. We've already talked about how much the first one made at the box office, but the opening... weekend in particular. So this opened to an opening domestic box office weekend of 123.4 million, which is huge for a horror movie in particular. So Chapter 2 was announced right away. Andy Muschietti returning as director. And when we are talking about the people who worked on this, I'm going to exclude people who worked on the first one. But if there's a role that's been changed, I will bring them up. So the screenplay for this one is written entirely by Gary Dauberman. What if I didn't mention to Viv? Because however, he did leave to go direct Annabelle Comes Home, and Jason Fuchs, who wrote Pan and Wonder Woman, did work on the screenplay, but did not get an official credit from the WGA. Jason Fuchs also cameos in this movie as Richie's agent.
I didn't know that was one of the cameos.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's got a few cameos in this.
Yeah. I mean, we've already mentioned Peter Bogdanovich. There will be more. There'll even be cameos that were going to happen that didn't.
Oh, yeah. I know about this one.
Now, the director of photography is changed between these movies. We've got Checo Varize, who's worked on the movie The 33, which is about the Chilean miners who were stuck if you remember that.
Yeah, I know that story.
And also the hit decom Lemonade Mouth.
No way.
Same cinematographer.
We all watched that together. It's a good movie.
Yeah. And that just brings us to the cast. So we have, as the older Bill Denbrough, James McAvoy from Split, X-Men, and he was in Narnia.
He was in Narnia.
What's his name?
He's the goat.
Mr. Tumbles.
Mr. Tumbles.
Mr. Tumble.
Mr. Tumness.
No, I'd love it if it was Mr. Tumble.
You do your high, you're gay. No, I love it.
I'm not going to do the impression on the pod.
It does a really good Mr. Tumbles
I
impression.
do. I can't. It's inappropriate. You're gay. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, damn. Okay. Mr. Tumness. We saw Narnia in cinemas.
I was going to say Mr. Tumbles in cinemas.
We did.
Narnia, great adaptation of the book being the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a meme, and then we watched it and was like, holy fuck, this is just really religious. God is canon.
When Aslan was resurrected.
Like real life.
Yeah, it's true. That's where the term canon comes from.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We have Jay Ryan as Ben Hanscom. He is a New Zealand actor and does a lot of work in New Zealand and Australia, naturally.
He also does game theory and film theory, and he also cameos in Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. If this movie, if this was...
It took me a moment
if
to
there
realise
was
what you were saying.
If there was 3 chapters to it, like we said earlier, 50s one, 80s one, and then modern one, Viv thinks Matt Pat would be a really good middle ground between young Ben and old Ben, and honestly, she's kind of right.
I mean, if there were 3 parts, in the first one they'd be 13, in the second one they'd be 14, how old would they be in the third one?
I mean, yeah, the fucking maths doesn't work.
No,
does it?
They would be 13 in the first one, they'd be 14 in the next one. How old would they be in the third one, Joe?
Fucking 57, 67.
I can't.
You can't condone this.
I can't condone.
Oh, that was a natural.
You see, Baby Groku did fucking 6'7"
I don't condone this. I don't condone this. We at Pod One Out Studios does not condone this.
You know that movie's going to be asked when the influencers are just like, oh, there's a lot of stuff for fans to love. Yeah, that's like the worst thing you can say about the movie.
Anyway, check back in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Because he works in New Zealand and Australia primarily, he was in Neighbours for a few years. He's also in a TV series called Beauty and the Beast, which ran for a few years.
Not the one written by George R. R. Martin?
No.
Not the one that's
Is that the one with Ron Perlman?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. No, in this...
And who played the woman?
I don't know.
I might have seen... I remember watching a Beauty and the Beast series. I know it's not really...
Terminator?
Terminator?
Yeah. The woman from Terminator.
Linda Hamilton?
Linda Hamilton, maybe.
I don't know. I know Ron Perlman was in Beauty and the Beast. In this one, Jay Ryan plays the Beast.
I think I've seen this.
I know there's a French one with, I think, Vincent Cassel as the Beast and Léa Seydoux as Beauty.
Really? Oh, wait.
Yeah, I've seen the first season of this. I had no idea that was him.
Well, the Ron Perlman one?
Is it Ron Perlman?
No, the Jay Ryan one.
Yeah, the Jay Ryan one. It was on the CW. So
yeah.
that
makes sense. You had this weird... like loving relationship with the CW shows.
I still do.
Yeah.
Watching Buffy and fucking going back to the Supernatural and all that shit.
Yeah. Was Buffy CW?
Buffy was was like...
Was it the WB at the time?
It was the WB and then it became the CW.
Okay.
Yeah. It was on First Time Flyers episode of Buffy. We talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my years ago.
That was a very early episode.
We have the late James Ransone, or PJ Ransone, as Eddie Casbrack. You would have seen him in Sinister and The Black Phone. Sadly, took his own life just a few months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know there are... I know there are some people who say that his opinions on certain political things are quite contentious. We're not going to get into that, you know. It's not for us to ponder on the reason why he did it, and we just want to, be respectful of that. He's also in the movie Tangerine.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in another Sean Baker one.
Yeah.
Like Scarlet?
I don't know, but yeah.
I'm less familiar with his work outside of this.
Yeah. He is he's the spitting image.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
they have
the same eyes.
They have that shot in this where it transitions from adult Eddie to young Eddie, and that is only there to show off how
that's the
perfect
flex.
this casting is.
Yeah. We have Bill Hader as
Hey.
Richie Tozier. From
Fucking love Bill Hader so much.
yeah, we know.
I love Bill Hader so much. He's such a cutie.
Yeah.
I saw this in cinemas with my housemate Erin,
Yeah.
and I think the only reason she wanted to go see it is because she had a huge crush on Bill Hader.
Yeah, he's really cute.
Yeah.
And he's funny. He does really good impressions. Have you seen the behind the scenes set when he does the Andy Muschietti
Yeah.
impression? Muschietti.
It was scary.
Honestly, anytime I see Bill Hader, I think of that one bit in Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping.
Yeah.
Or Flatliners.
Where he's talking about Flatliners, he's just like, yeah, the Joel Schumacher movie shot by Jan de Bont.
Oh yeah, and fucking Joanna Newsom's the one that flatlines him. She's a famous singer.
Yeah, Joanna Newsom, you're a big fan of her, aren't you?
Obviously, he was on SNL for a number of years. He was a writer on South Park.
Yeah.
I know
He
that
did.
from the
He made-
documentary.
He made Barry,
Yeah.
which is a great show.
And if we're talking about adults, like kids into adults, I think he does look like an older Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah.
He's one of the
I
actors.
know Finn
think.
Wolfhard wanted him to play.
Yeah,
that.
I do have a point on that, so we'll come on to that.
We'll come back to that in a minute. Okay.
We have not so much in the movie, but he is still there. We have Andy Bean as Stanley Uris. He is in Allegiant and Malignant. I'm assuming Malignant's the fourth. In that series.
That's why I'm so desperate for Meg to watch it, so she
Yeah.
can get the finale.
No. When you were talking earlier about a final chapter recontextualizing, Malignant is a movie for me where the first half I was like not really into it, and as soon as the second half happens, I was like, that first half was so good. It was worth it to build up to this.
Is your Malignant story the one where you saw it by yourself and you looked at the guy in the cinema when the twist
I
happened?
straight up turned to another guy and just like,
Yeah, Val and I saw
full-on
that.
PogChamp.
No, yeah, Val and I saw that. You saw
Yeah,
that
I didn't go
separately.
see it. I saw it at home.
Our friend Val and I saw that, and we had a similar thing where it wasn't we looked at other people, but there was only like 8 of us in the cinema, and it was a big screen, and collectively we all just went like, "Oh!" like like verbally, like in unison.
Like it's so rare for a movie to have that sort of turning moment.
Yeah, if you haven't watched *Malignant*, watch it. Don't look anything up about it. Just watch it. It's a good fun.
Incredible movie. We have Isaiah Mustafa as Mike Hanlon. You may know him from the Old Spice commercials.
It's him.
Yeah.
I thought he looked really
I'm
familiar.
the man your man can smell like. I'm on a horse. Do, 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 do.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. In the commentary, Andy Muschietti says, I only knew his work from the Old Spice commercials.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing I knew him from as
Yeah.
well.
Why did I never bring that up behind the scenes?
I remember when...
Because he's acted in other stuff as
No,
well.
but like,
That's
who he is.
To be fair, they are American. I imagine those are showed less in America, or
Oh,
just
no,
as
they were
much.
showed in America.
They were showed in America as well. Oh, there we go then.
I guess they were showing in Latin America if Andy Muschietti knew about them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. He's also in Shadowhunters, the...
Meg will be familiar with
Yeah.
that, listener of the pod.
is that the Mortal Instruments?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And Jessica Chastain from Mama, obviously worked with Andy Muschietti before, Zero Dark 30, an Academy Award winner for The Eyes of Tammy Faye as Beverly Marsh. We also have, as the older Henry Bowers, Teach Grant, who is in an episode or two of the Dead Zone series,
Oh,
so we'll
okay.
eventually see him again. He's also in Big Time Movie.
Big Time Movie. That sounds familiar. What's that?
The Big Time Rush movie.
Okay, that's why.
Ah.
I like Big Time Rush. I don't think I ever saw the movie.
Neither did I. I like the series.
Yeah. And if we talk about cameos, we have a guy working in a shop. I've seen his face, I just can't picture who he is.
Mayor of Whoville.
Yeah. Young Ben from the original miniseries.
Young Ben is also there. Yeah, we've got Young Ben, we've got Stephen King, obviously.
Yeah, Stephen King is in this movie. Always
How
fun.
do you feel about that character? Is it egregious?
He's got a Funko Pop.
Honestly,
Jesus Christ.
I do believe it is a little bit egregious. I'll forgive it because it feels like, in the context of the Stephen King timeline, at least from my understanding, I might well be wrong about this. You know, it would have been a while before he'd cameoed, like since he'd cameoed in something else, as
Sons
far
of
as I know.
Anarchy, I think might have been like
Yeah.
the previous one.
But
It was funny how he was bringing up stories about like if you if you have me as a cameo, this is going to make this a bad movie.
Yeah. It's but I think it's only egregious just because of the context it's in. But then also I think it's a decent change. So in the book and in the original miniseries, I believe Mike just has silver for Ben.
Yeah, because they're just like riding around on it,
and that just kind of is like, oh yeah, he makes sense. He remembers it. He saw the bike. He got it. But they turn it into like this whole thing in this movie.
Yeah.
With
the fetch quest.
Bill, the fetch quest, which is a thing in the book. I will criticize the fetch quests, but that same thing happens in the books where they have to go get items, and Bill gets silver. I don't know. I think it's a little egregious. Drags on a little bit too long. I don't really.
Is it as bad as that scene in the book where they're talking about allegories and how they don't matter?
Oh yeah, we talked about this last week.
Because this is like an equivalent, more or less, of having the author right there being like, oh yeah, your ending fucking sucks.
So if you listened to last episode, Viv brought up a scene that I couldn't remember. I do remember it now. It's just I was thrown off by specific details.
You suppressed it because Pennywise was there.
Where Stephen King talks about, and I do think this is relevant for the movie, Stephen King talks about, the character of Bill talks about how, why can't stories just be stories? There's like basically dismissing allegory and interpretations. Some people read that as Stephen King's own opinion. I'm not saying it's not. I just think in the plot of the book, it's Bill's journey to realize there's more in depth because he doesn't have his memories. In this movie, the equivalent is the whole joke of the ending is bad.
Yeah.
And I do think the nail on the head with that is Stephen King also being like, I don't want you to sign the book. I didn't like the ending. Because that is a criticism of him that's often made. But then Andy Muschietti said something really interesting in the commentary about how the reason he included the ending as bad thing, I'm sure there was partly a joke at Stephen King, but it's because Bill's arc in this version is more focused on not being able to get closure. And I appreciate that.
It's a nice way to spin it. I don't
believe he didn't do it on purpose. But
I think two things can be true.
Yeah, exactly. But I know that was a bit of a tangent.
This has to do with that.
Okay.
There is a cameo that didn't happen, wasn't filmed, and it's not the one you're thinking of.
Okay.
Joe Hill actually said we should do a flashback scene with the shopkeeper and I should play him.
That's really funny.
Oh, that would have been so cute.
Yeah. Obviously that didn't happen, but Andy Muschietti is a producer on Lock and Key, which is the Joe Hill series at Netflix.
That's cool. That would have been really cute. If maybe it was literally like less of a literal flashback with the shopkeeper, more, when we see them as kids, maybe Joe Hill could have been there.
Yeah.
It's incredible how many directors Stephen King is really tight with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he has a beef with like a bunch of others, but like writers tend to be like quite introverted, so seeing one who's just like this open about spreading the material is like it's quite interesting.
Well, they held a private screening for Stephen King, and he said he was surprised how good the first movie was. So.
Yeah, I think that I can understand why he'd say that, considering some of his adaptations are great, and also he can be sometimes sensitive on changes that are made, and it is quite hard to adapt. So I'm glad that he likes it.
Yeah, and we do have a cameo from the director Andy Muschietti in the pharmacy.
Yeah,
there is a deleted scene from part 1.
Well, he's just in the background, right?
Yeah.
I thought I recognized him.
He's behind Eddie.
Yeah,
there's a deleted scene in chapter 1 at the pharmacy. And he's in the exact same place he's in. He's got a cameo in the deleted scene.
That's really funny.
So if that was in the movie, it'd be really funny that just the same guy hasn't aged over 27 years.
Kind of wish they kept that in just for that.
Yeah. I think he cameos in all his movies. I definitely remember him cameoing in The Flash.
Who was he in The Flash?
I think The Flash steals his hot dog.
Oh, okay.
He was one of the babies that went in the microwave.
They just like put his face on a baby.
Yeah.
Should I rewatch The Flash? I don't know.
We should put it on the wheel.
We should
Honestly,
put it on the
wheel. I wouldn't be opposed to giving it another go.
Yeah, okay. I'll chuck it on the wheel.
There was going to be a cameo by none other than Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
He had signed off. He was going to do it. Unfortunately, at the very last minute, he couldn't make the flight. So he unfortunately did not get to cameo. He really wanted to, though. He was going to be the janitor at the school that young Ben...
I was hoping he was going to carry on his his role from Always Sunny, where he plays the uncle from the
Pappy
McBoyle.
McPoyle.
Pappy McPoyle. He shows up with the massive beard. Going, "Ah!"
Have you seen Pappy McPoyle's back in the next season?
Is he?
Yeah,
great.
no, I remember seeing a video of him and Danny DeVito in like the golf carts around like the lot.
Oh god, I'm really excited for the new season.
Yeah, have you seen the last one?
Yeah.
I haven't.
It was
I need to
great.
watch it.
Yeah, no, it was really
enjoyed
good.
Yeah.
I love the one where they become like EMTs.
Yeah, I remember you like bigging up that, and I was just like, I gotta check out.
That was
season.
like a return.
That
to
wasn't
Yeah.
even my favorite episode of the season. Mine was the them preparing for the table dinner, and they just keep doing it over and over again.
It's really good.
That would fucking kill me. It's so
Honestly, the newest season of Always Sunny is the best they've done in years.
I'll watch it. I've just never got around to it.
yeah.
So that's the cast. Oh, actually, no. We do have one more person I want to mention. The young girl with the birthmark.
Yeah.
That is Ryan Kira Armstrong. Remember that name because we will see her again.
Really?
She is young Firestarter
I knew
in
it!
the remake of
I knew it!
Firestarter.
That's cool.
But I didn't want to say in case I was wrong,
Yeah.
which is easy to say.
Yeah. There are also other characters. I know Xavier Dolan, director of like Mommy,
Yeah.
is Adrian Mellons. We will talk more on that in just a moment.
Yeah.
Before that, though, I want to talk about the fan casts. So the kids were interviewed to ask who...
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off actually mid-sentence. You just reminded me of a really funny bit I remember when It Chapter 2 got announced and people were like, oh, I don't really want to see them do the adult storyline. They should just put the kids in suits and let the kids do it.
No, that is the fan cast.
Yeah, that's my fan cast. But anyway, go on.
No, I want to talk about the fan casts of who the kids wanted to play the older versions of themselves. So, going in order, Jaden Martell, Bill, said that he wanted Christian Bale to play the older version of him. Obviously, we got James McAvoy. What do you think of... Do you think Christian Bale could have done that role?
I don't necessarily
I think he
think
would have
he's a good...
stuck out like a sore
yeah,
thumb.
it wouldn't have fit, but I can kind of see like visually a link. But
I don't see
arguably-
it personally. I like Christian Bale.
Yeah, that's fair.
I kind of see James McAvoy more.
I see James McAvoy more. I arguably feel kind of similar about specifically James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain, where because they're the two I know the most about, seeing them in this role is kind of makes it less immersive, but that's a fully on me
Honestly, it's
thing.
really weird seeing James McAvoy not bald and in a wheelchair.
Anyway, yeah.
Even though in most of those movies he somehow is
Can walk,
walking.
yeah. It's hard to write disabled characters, even one of the most iconic ones of all time.
I was getting confused when he was bald and ripped in Split.
Has he had hair and been
He's
in a
never had
wheelchair in
hair.
another movie?
He's never had hair.
It's a wig.
It's a wig.
I don't know who it was I was thinking of recently, but no, it was Ewan McGregor in Doctor Sleep. I was comparing James McAvoy as Bill, and I much prefer James McAvoy because they're both Scottish and they both do an American accents, and I buy James McAvoy's a lot more than I bought Ewan McGregor's.
I can
I
understand
probably
that.
like Ewan McGregor more as an actor, but I just want to bring that up because that's something I did think about.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. Jeremy Ray Taylor, Ben, said he wanted the older version of him to be played by Chris Pratt.
I thought you were going to say Christian Bale again.
That would have been a great bit if the kids had conferred on
Yeah.
that. Chris Pratt. Well, I'm glad it's not Chris Pratt.
Would you not want to talk about Chris Pratt on an episode of All Hail the King, a Stephen King podcast?
It's not even just that. I just do not think that works. Weirdly, with the weight loss stuff, I can kind of see it because Chris Pratt famously went from kind of pudgy to very shredded for Guardians of the Galaxy.
It made him evil.
Yeah, but it did make him evil.
Yeah. Nah, he wouldn't be in this. He'd be like, nah, it's against God.
Yeah.
I don't know, they kill some gay people. Maybe we'd be all for it.
That's true. That's true.
So I get to kill gay people?
No,
Chris.
no, Chris.
No, Chris, that's not your scene.
No.
Fuck, well, I'm not in it. I'm not going to be in it then.
Okay, so shoot Pat Tillman. I'm really glad we didn't get like a big Hollywood name for all of these roles.
Yeah.
Jay Ryan.
Imagine the Nintendo casting of the where they slowly reveal each cast member with a photo.
Seth Rogen as Ben Hanscom.
I could kind of see it.
Anya Taylor-Joy as Beverly.
Charlie Day as Stanley Uris.
No,
Jack Black as
Fucking Richie.
Bill Denborough.
No, Jack Black would be Richie.
God. Yeah.
Stop, Pennywise!
Next.
Jack Dylan Grazer, young Eddie, said he wanted Jake Gyllenhaal to play him.
That's insane.
I really like that one. Like I like the guy they got, as we said, is the spitting image. I kind of like Jake Gyllenhaal as a.
No, he's got that, like, especially in like Nightcrawler, he's got that twitchy eye thing. I think he would do a good job. Yeah. He just had to be open the entire time.
Yeah, I can see it. I just think it's
like they couldn't get big. They got big names for some of these, but not all of them. I think I would have liked Jake Gyllenhaal, but I'm completely fine with him not being there because I like who they have anyway.
Yeah.
Finn Wolfhard, Richie famously said he wanted Bill Hader.
Yeah.
And that's how Bill Hader got in.
He had a lot of sway on this set.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they pulled all the strings they could to get him on.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really like Bill Hader as Richie.
No, I think he's perfect for this.
I think he's great. Yeah. That's why they're like, oh yeah, okay, well actually, that's a great idea. We'll do that one.
Do you like that he's got like a bit of stubble, or would you have preferred him clean shaven? I like the stubble.
I like the stubble.
Yeah, I think it really works for his
he looks
character.
so good in the glasses. He just looks so handsome, regardless,
Yeah.
I like how he brings like a lot of physicality to it. Specifically, that one scene where he gets hit by the daylight.
That is the best bit.
Yeah.
I know. I was watching the ending.
Genuine.
I was watching the ending, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Not to skip to the end, and then that happened, and I cried.
It's so good.
It's
so funny.
Like, I think the VFX of like his eyes just turning white really like add to it as well.
It's just such an effective scene of him being confident, and the way he drops his arms and the noise they play of the deadlights. I love to think of that in universe where Pennywise is like this fucking guy that just blasts him.
So yeah, everything was worth it for that one scene alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wyatt Olaf, Stanley, who was turned into Chris Pratt in a different movie when he grew up.
Oh yeah, he did.
He did.
Yeah.
He wanted Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That'd be really funny to cast Joseph Gordon-Levitt for one scene.
For one scene for him to die in a bathtub.
Honestly, I think that would have been the funniest thing. Get like the biggest name in the movie and have him as Stanley.
Yeah.
It's like the equivalent of like in Hot Fuzz with
like Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, with Kate Blanchett just all covered up.
I like how they put Drew Barrymore in Scream.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's great. I will say though, the guy they got to play Stanley, even though he's only in one scene, again, really good casting. I can really see that. Two scenes.
The ending,
yeah, but I mean, I think he really does look like an older Wyatt Olaf.
Yeah, I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt as well. And he's not opposed to doing like bit parts. He's in all the Knives Out movies.
Yeah,
he plays the owly Bong in Glass Onion.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
No, I think that's really cool.
So Chosen Jacobs, Mike, said he wanted Chadwick Boseman to play him.
That would have been pretty sick.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Like obviously this was.
When did he pass away?
So he passed away in 2020. So this would have been before.
Okay. No, that would have been good.
Yeah. So at the time, this Chapter 2 would have been filming just a couple of months after Black Panther came out. So this would have been at like peak Chadwick Boseman. I don't know if I see it entirely, but I like Chadwick. I like Chadwick Boseman as an actor.
I haven't seen much of his stuff, being honest, outside of the MCU, but I can imagine he's really good.
Yeah. And Sophia Lillis, who plays Beverly, said she wanted Jessica Chastain. There is also a clip of Barbara Muschietti on the set of Chapter 1 saying, "We were just talking and we were thinking Jessica Chastain would be a great older Beverly." And apparently they were texting even before like the first movie finished filming.
That seemed very likely on the offset, considering they've already worked with her.
Exactly, makes sense.
Do you think they were kind of just like, say Jessica Chastain? They were like shoving her.
Well, it seemed...
Sophia, you want to be Jessica Chastain?
Honestly, I don't think that, because I don't know. I think when you think of, at least at that time, who's
a redheaded woman?
Who's a redheaded woman, late 30s, early 40s, who can realistically play that role? Yeah, you're going to think of Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like that makes sense.
And I just want to bring this up, because I don't know if we'll ever get a chance to talk about this again. Do you know Grace Randolph? Beyond the Trailer woman.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Grace Randolph, that sounds
famous
familiar.
beef with Jessica Chastain.
Did she have beef?
Oh, she hates Jessica Chastain with all her...
Why?
Wait,
I don't know. I do not know.
Just to clarify, who's Grace Randolph? Because I recognize the name.
She has a YouTube channel called Beyond the Trailer.
Okay.
And she reports on, like, movies and stuff. But a lot of the time, she, like, absolute bullshits. There's even been a point where James Gunn has said, only 3 things happen in life. You're born, you die, and Grace Randolph spouts bullshit online.
Oh my god.
Wow. Major beef with
You
Hollywood
probably
there.
recognize her. She has like a recognizable.
I heard the name
Yeah.
before.
I'll show you a picture of her. But,
Beyond the Trailer.
yeah, she just kind of had beef with this movie because it cast Jessica Chastain, as she does with all movies that Jessica Chastain is in.
What did Jessica Chastain do?
I don't know.
She seems cool.
I don't know what she did to her to upset her so much.
Maybe she like,
Oh, I know her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe she like ignored her on a red carpet once.
Yeah. But it's really funny. Anytime I hear news of like something with Jessica Chastain, I'm just like, I gotta know what Grace has to say about this. I don't watch Beyond the Trailer except for when it's Jessica
This
Chastain
bitch.
news. Because I just think it's really funny. This
Because she wanted to be cast as Beverly Marsh.
That was my role.
That was my role.
So this was, once again, produced by New Line Cinema and Vertigo Entertainment. But we also have 2 new production companies joining, those being Double Dream and Rideback. Again, distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures and released 2 years after released 2 years after Chapter 1 on September the 6th, 2019. This also had a quite sizable opening box office, less than Chapter 1 though, at 91 million compared to 123.4. This would go on to gross. I
Some money.
I didn't write that down for this.
$10.
Hold on. I do have it on.
And he moves.
Scaries.
Yeah, he's like, oh fuck, this costs so much money. I'm in so much trouble now.
Gotta make the Flash.
I gotta
and
make
the Flash
the Flash.
was such a success. It's like, I guess we'll make Welcome to Derry now.
Yeah.
So Chapter 2 had a larger budget than Chapter 1. It had 79 million estimated, which is more than double, but this is a more demanding movie, especially with the spider of it all.
Yeah.
Not Spider from Avatar, Fire and Ash.
And why did he show up?
We can't defeat Pennywise, but he can. Oh, fuck, it's Spider.
Come here, butthole.
Yeah, Pennywise is scared of one thing. It's Spider.
White boy with dreads.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this had a larger budget. It had a smaller gross overall. It grossed $473 million worldwide, which is still a huge success, especially on that budget. But when you compare it to the first one, it does seem to be dwarfed. Also, in comparison to the first one, this did get a colder reception. IMDb users gave this 6.5 out of 10. Letterboxd, 2.9 out of 5. Metacritic, 58 out of 100. Rotten Tomatoes critics gave it 62%, but audiences gave it 78. And CinemaScore was exactly the same, B+.
Boom.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, that's generally the notes I've got there. As far as all-time rankings for R-rated movies, this does sit at number 24, and the first one sits at number 8. The first one did peak at number 3, and this one peaked at number 18. So these are both hugely successful movies. This is the second highest grossing Stephen King adaptation, behind only the first one. And, do we want to quickly discuss our general thoughts, or did you want to talk about...
No, we'll do general thoughts. I think it makes sense to do quick one when we speak about Andrew and Melon specifically. I feel like
Viv has kind of been teasing her thoughts, so I feel like we should start with Viv.
Start with me? No, end with me.
Okay, fair enough. I'll start with me.
Okay.
I really like this still. I think I'm just so invested in these characters and this story as a whole that I just can't help but enjoy living in this world, especially with this cast. I have a lot more criticisms. I definitely think this pulls from weaker parts of the book. For example, I think the fetch quest really drags, especially with the way it's structured, where each part kind of feels like it's going for the exact same beats. I had the exact same criticism of the book in that regard. That is something that's taken from the book that could have been changed. I'm not saying, oh, of course it's going to be weaker. The book's bits are weaker. No, that's the whole point of an adaptation. But even then, I just love being in this world and seeing these characters. And I have criticisms. I definitely think it's a weaker overall movie, but I can't help but enjoy it. Being honest, I still really like it.
Okay. I know Viv wants to go last. I think we kind of know where she's going with it, but when I saw it, I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's good. It's good. It's good. And then I kind of soured on it for a while.
Yeah.
When I watched both of these, what I did was I actually watched these two back to back. I watched the first one, then had lunch, and then watched part 2. I am doing a complete 180. I think this is great.
Nice.
I think it's weaker than the first part. I think this has got more heavy lifting to do than the first part, so I completely understand it from that perspective. But I would go as far to say these two together are the best Stephen King adaptation since the turn of the millennium.
I mean, I don't think I could disagree with that. I think I probably do agree with that, unless I... I mean, thinking of all the adaptations I love, they're all before then, so I definitely agree.
And I know this has a long run time, and I obviously sat through the two of them basically back to back. I did not feel the run time, which is shocking, because I remember this being like, fuck, it's like damn near 3 hours long.
Yeah.
I am completely shocked. Before this, I was like, I'm really looking forward to watching the first one, and the second one, I'm intrigued to see if I like it anymore. No, I think part 2 is great as well.
Nice. So we're very, kind of on the same page as each other then.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Speak your truth, Queen.
This was a fucking roller coaster. Holy shit. I have not returned to this in a while. I've forgotten 99% of this. This movie is batshit insane. There were moments of this. Yeah, it does drag for like for the first 2 hours. There's some like wild stuff like sort of sprinkled out. I did not remember any of the indigenous stuff.
Yeah.
So going back to this, like what? But then it was like sort of like coming down to like the last 40 minutes. And I'm just like, you know what? This is like more subdued than I remember. And then the finale of the last 40 minutes came on. I just had like two conflicting thoughts in my head the entire time I was watching this, and just that this is the most stupid, ridiculous thing I've ever seen, with this much effort being put onto this, and a second of just like, you know what? I really admire how much they're really going for these really, really big emotions and like really committing to it. There is like a reverence for these characters, and but like every 5 minutes I would think like, this is stupid and ridiculous and doesn't work, and a second I'm just like, I am kind of drawn to this at the same time. So I have these two solar opposite opinions that are like occurring in my head whilst I'm watching this, and that I think it's borderline like Marvel like superhero bullshit, especially with that ending where I'm just like, okay, now they're just quips. They're all fighting this super alien from the future.
Bill Hader does do the
yeah, and then that was occurring, but at the same time I'm just thinking, but if you're gonna adapt this, how else are you gonna do this? So there's like, I still don't know what to feel, and I've been thinking about this for ages. This film's kind of broken my opinion on what a film could do.
So you don't know if you like it or not?
I think I either hate it or love it, and I don't know.
If I can sort of speak
two things can be true.
Yeah, two things can be true. If I can kind of speak to that, I think a lot of films, when you watch them, and we spoke about this as people who essentially review and discuss films, I think there's times where you watch a film and you criticize it because, say, the acting's not the best, the directing's not the best. I completely understand why someone wouldn't like it Chapter 2 based on the story and what it pulls from. But like you said, what they do it hard.
Yeah.
They had a vision.
There's like a genuine admiration I have for how much they're committing to these big emotions for like the climax specifically.
Yeah.
I do have like a lot of beef with like, say, the fetch quest.
Yeah.
All that leading up to it. I don't like how much the kids are in this. I find it quite tedious.
I agree.
I kind of agree.
I agree with that. You finish, yeah. You go.
But it's so strange having just these two things and like I lost my train of thought. Carry on.
That's fair. If I could speak to all the kids aspect of it.
Or if Viv remembers, she gets interrupted.
Of course. I completely agree with that. One of my major criticisms of this is kind of how it stitches into the fabric of the first one. And I appreciate what they tried to do. I just don't know if it necessarily works for me. It's not a major breaking point. It's just like my criticism of it. So, for example, the clubhouse. That is a thing in the book. But they obviously chose to omit it in the first one. Understandably so. They've got so much other stuff going on with the kids. But to the point where the inclusion of it in this movie feels like a retcon, even though there's no reason it couldn't have been happening at the same time. And in the book, they do have the clubhouse. It just does feel like a thing that wasn't considered. I'm not saying it had to be in the first movie. It does just feel a bit jarring. And similarly, I feel like they did a good job with the tokens are items from either the first movie or that take place in the gap in the first movie where the group breaks up.
Yeah.
And I think there are times where that does work, and there are times where it just feels like they didn't know what to put in, personally. But again, I can see the issue with that isn't necessarily on the filmmaker's part. It's more just the way they chose to adapt these.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it work. And I agree. I wish there was kind of less of the kids, but I do accept it as a necessary evil.
I do kind of remember what I was saying now.
Yeah.
It's specifically, again, with that conflicting feeling of, I was watching this, I'm just like, fuck, they're spending a ton of time, like, especially, you know when they have like all their items and they're like throwing it into that thing, and they're giving, that scene was like 10 minutes. It felt like it was very long. It was a big character moment, and part of me was thinking like, oh, they're really giving time to this, and part of me was like quite annoyed. I wanted it to sort of, this felt like a director's cut of a film. Yeah, there's a lot going on all the time, and part of me again feels like this could be cut down, but there's like such a reverence for these characters which conflicts with like my wanting of like a better paced, better structured film.
Yeah,
that I don't know what I get at.
No, I think I know what you're on about. I do feel like what you said there about it being a director's cut, it does feel like that kind of movie.
Yeah. Where there's like so many scenes.
I feel like if you cut it down 20 minutes, I feel like people would be less harsh on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that middle third is the weakest part of the movie.
Yeah.
Are you thinking the fetch quest or just the
fetch quest, but also like going back to the kids. Yeah. I know I wasn't really too bothered about the de-aging. I didn't really notice it all that much the first time. The second time, I kind of noticed it more because it is just kind of like bloomy.
Yeah, it's more. I just noticed Finn Wolfhard just shooting up in height every other shot.
Yeah. And I'm not opposed to seeing the kids, but stuff like the house, the clubhouse, it does feel a bit like a retcon.
Yeah,
and I know it's something that apparently they were talking about in the first movie, but Richie being gay doesn't seem like something that I don't see it in the subtext of the first movie. I feel like that it feels to me at least like something that came in the second one.
I do have a lot of opinions about that as well.
You may have more on that, but there is also another gay thing that you want to talk about.
There's a ton of gay things I want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, we'll go into Queer Corner. Should we? The Adrian Mellon stuff and the Richie stuff, as tied in as it is in the movie, are kind of separate things in a way. Separate, because one is canon to the book and one is subtext in the book that people read it as, but isn't necessarily in the text. I'm saying that as someone, I've done queer readings of so many of these books.
Yeah.
But yeah, so feel free to interrupt me at any point where you feel like you've got stuff to say.
Joe's Queer Corner. It's where Joe talks about being gay.
So before we get into the Richie and Eddie of it all, because it's not just Richie, Eddie is just as relevant to this conversation. I want to shout out a bunch of people, because I really did research. I looked at a lot of opinions, a lot of articles, a lot of essays on this. So I wanted to shout out the Fundamentals, Rachel Brands, Alex London, Mert KK, who I've already mentioned, and Alexander Avila.
Just hear the Fundamentals.
Yeah, Fundamentals. Alexander Avila used to go by Are They Gay on YouTube, hasn't for a while. But
are they?
Maybe. You have to watch his video. No, I'll say. I won't be necessarily being specific to who said what, but those are the people I'm sort of citing in general. When watching the film, a lot of people focus on Richie because Richie is canonically gay, as much as some people online don't want to accept it.
I know your secret,
yeah,
your dirty little secret.
Then why don't they say it?
Well, that's a criticism I do have, and the Other Gay that video has, where Alexander Avila says about how, to paraphrase him, in chapter 2, they kind of have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Where Richie is obviously gay,
but we can't mention it.
We can't explicitly say it, and you might think that's stupid. I personally think it's stupid. Of course he's gay. Not even in the sense of like when I talked about Christine and I was like, oh, Dennis is gay.
I was looking at a review of chapter 2 and someone described it as the gay stuff was handled tastefully. I couldn't disagree.
I think that it's handled...
I think
yeah.
Completing... not mentioning it, not saying the word as tasteful, I think is just kind of stupid.
Some criticisms,
just finding the word.
I agree. I think some criticisms I saw some people had on the side of the pro-gay side is how it kind of uses the secretly gay as trope as a character arc. And I think that's okay to have a character, especially someone who's raised in the 80s. And I think maybe this would make a bit more sense if they didn't modernize it, but it still works.
Yeah.
A character like Richie, who's very much in the public eye, he's a comedian. He fits that sort of archetype of straight white male, that this might be something that he feels shame around. But also, yeah, okay, if the character arc is in him accepting himself, you don't really get that payoff. And it feels like they want to have that in there, but someone of somewhere said, well, you need to keep it toned down, because it feels like it's tasteful for the sake of a straight audience.
Yeah, I feel as though... This feels like a decision made so it isn't going to piss off a large demographic.
Yeah, and
of people who are very angry at the notion of a character being gay who they didn't suspect of initially.
And I think that...
I have no idea what kind of person you're talking about.
You.
No, it's
no joke.
MAGA.
Yeah, of course. Especially at the time, yeah, because Donald Trump would have just taken office. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but it is important to remember the context. And the thing is, with it especially, is I did see people online disagreeing about Richie being gay and saying he shouldn't have been, and saying it was a detriment to the film, not because of the way it was handled, just because he was gay. And obviously, when I've done Queer Corners in a bunch of these episodes, even our very first one about Christine, but the one I spent the most time researching and analysing was The Long Walk, which you can go back and listen to. And during that, and that's something where it is subjective, other than arguably Pete, where it is heavily implied, romantic feelings between Ray and Pete is subjective. But people were aggressively against, not like I'm generalizing, but there are people aggressively against the concept of those characters being gay.
Yeah.
And in this one, it makes even less sense to me that people would be against it, but I saw lots of discussions. Like I said, I've been on TikTok, Instagram, basically all social medias to see from now and from the time, even on Reddit, on different pages, people aren't happy with it. Not everyone, but some people.
I've seen people, I think it was in like reference to like Long Walk or something.
Yeah.
Where someone said, I'm not a pervert who has to assume that every friendship is romantic. Like talking about how they don't like people.
Yeah.
Pick it up on subtext and thinking, are these characters gay? Like we've talked about Long Walk. My opinion was that Ray was not gay.
Yeah.
But
Pete was.
Pete definitely was.
Yeah. And I saw a similar thing in the regards to it, of people saying with chapter 1 of, because chapter 1 is kind of what kickstarted Ready as a ship, so Richie and Eddie, because of the chemistry between
Finn
between
Wolfhard
the
and
chemistry,
Jack Dylan Grazer.
Between the chemistry of Finn Wolfhard and Jack Dylan Grazer. Thank you for helping. Yeah, and I saw people online on Reddit posts before Chapter 2 came out discussing that, and people responding saying, don't force your sexuality upon these kids. And, this is a film where Richie does make sexual jokes a lot. They're jokes. Yeah, they're 12, but kids at that age do start figuring things out.
The whole...
I do kind of like some of his jokes, like when they said, "Oh, this was like a beaver hunting town," just like still is. Am I right?
Yeah, it's funny.
But it's just like so interesting considering sure, you can view it as subtext, but it's very overt subtext of it being about sexuality.
Yeah, and that's where Alex London's article came in, and I thought this was a really interesting take. So Alex London speaks of his own experience as a gay man growing up in a similar time, and how his biggest fear was essentially his sexuality. And obviously that's played in a literal sense with this film with Richie, but he also does mention the explicit scene with the children from the book. But he speaks of that actually positively and says how he sees a lot of the themes in it about like sexual shame. And
that's basically what I was making notes on about. Like, what I like most about these two adaptations of it makes the fear of sexual disease and sexuality and like suppressing it like an overt part of the text a lot more than, say, maybe even the book. Like it dabbles in it quite, like, obviously in extreme cases like that scene.
Well, with the 90s one, they specifically changed the cut in the hand to spit because of the AIDS epidemic. They do mention AIDS in this.
Yeah, they do.
And I think that is like genuinely a very important distinction to make.
Exactly. And in regards to that explicit scene, Alex London says about in that scene, whether you like it or not, that kind of completes Bev's arc of Bev feeling shame about sex, where she takes that power into her own hands. And obviously you can feed that back then into Richie and Eddie in this case. Like you said, we've already mentioned AIDS, so I want to talk about Eddie, because reading this book, especially because I read the book after seeing the films, both the first time, and then this time I read it before rewatching. So I went into it knowing that in the films Richie is canonically gay. I personally didn't pick up on much in my reading, but other people did. So Eddie is the one in the book that a lot of people who've written essays about this see as more of the gay character. He's the only character Pennywise torments sexually in the book. The leper, for example, offers Eddie a blowjob, and there's discussions of Eddie being afraid of disease and getting disease specifically from sex and from men. And obviously, we've already mentioned AIDS, and that is something that's explicit. And Eddie has also got a bit more of emphasis on his religion in the books.
Yeah, isn't he supposed to be like a Catholic?
Yeah. So he's very afraid of like blasphemy and hell. And even though lots of people read Eddie as gay, obviously he does canonically marry a woman who resembles his mother. But there's lots of passages in the book where they discuss how Eddie doesn't love her. He just explicitly does not love her. Only under certain circumstances can he find herself aroused by her.
I do think it's like an interesting. I think it's an interesting decision they made with the 90 series as well.
Yeah,
to make him a virgin as well.
Exactly. And the fact he still lives with his mother.
Yeah,
and
in this one, it's the
same actress.
It is the same actress, which is really funny. But in that one scene that they share over the phone, you don't really get the feeling that there's any sort of love there.
Romance. No, and there's a bit in the book which I went over my head, but I think it was the Fundamentals that pointed this out, where Eddie jokingly refers to Marta as Marty. And so it's like, it's kind of masculinizing her as well. And even in the film, in chapter 2, when Richie finds out Eddie is married, he says, like, what to a woman? And yeah, it reads as a jab, but also I think that's Richie kind of trying to size up, Eddie's married, is it to a woman? But yeah, to speak on Richie, in the book, he's obviously, he's a lot more simultaneously immature and mature when it comes to sex, because he's obviously more knowledgeable but jokes about it a lot.
Yeah, it's like he's sublimating his sexual desire with humor.
Yes,
like framing it in a way to sort of create him safe.
And some people read that as more bisexual. I kind of see it more as compet, or if you don't know what that means, compulsory heterosexuality, where Richie is joking about it to sort of hammer home, like, I'm into women, I'm straight, I know all this stuff. At least that's my own personal
It comes across
thing.
more insecure.
Yeah. And there's even a scene where Richie is comforting Bill after Georgie, and he's holding him, and he says about, like, he's anxious about the fact that he looks gay comforting Bill, which really relates to me in terms of Dennis and Arnie in Christine, because one of my favorite scenes in that, and one I hammered home about in my first Queer Corner, was Dennis comforting Arnie, but Dennis was like, I don't care if we look gay, whereas Richie is younger, he's very self-conscious about that. And obviously people ship them, especially after the film, because their chemistry. Even in the book, though, there's constant name calling. They're the only two characters who are explicitly called oh no, I'm not allowed to say the slur. Yeah, they're the only two characters that Henry explicitly calls the F slur in the books. He does kind of make reference to it with the other losers, but he's a lot more direct towards them. And obviously in the film as well, Richie is very hurt at the end, arguably the most hurt of the losers when Eddie dies.
Yeah. We still get a slur in the movies.
Yeah,
we don't get racial slurs.
No,
in this one, which
is good.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about them still using like homophobia then?
I had an interesting discussion with you about this, Viv, the other day, because I'm reading a book, and I'll talk more about it in my recommendation, but the book explicitly discusses slurs and their history, and in the book,
the very
author,
hungry caterpillar.
Yes. The Gruffalo. In the book, the author specifically chooses to discuss these words and says the N-word, the F slur, but then just says the R slur. And I was saying to Viv about how I think that's so interesting that he chose to use that word when they weren't able... Sorry. Yeah. I think it's so interesting that the author chose to use that word when he didn't use the other slurs, when it is also considered a slur. So, I don't know. I'm not going to advocate for the fact that they should have had the N-word to keep it more fair, but I definitely think if they're going to make the choice to explicitly remove a racial slur, maybe it's not the right choice.
It's interesting seeing how it's flipped now from them using the N-word in the 90s one to now just using the F slur when they didn't use the F slur. Did they use the F slur?
Not as far as I remember. But I don't know. I understand why it's used in this context of, especially this, we see less scenes in chapter 2 of Henry bullying Mike specifically, but even then, chapter 1, we don't get the N-word as far as I remember. But I don't know, I can understand why it's there in the sense of they're hammering home the homophobia of it all.
Yeah.
But also, and we'll get to this, some people think of this movie as very mean-spirited and towards its gay representation, and I definitely think that doesn't necessarily help.
Do you want to talk about the homophobic scene?
I think we need to now, yeah.
Controversial opinion. This is going to sound insane. I really like how it's executed.
Yeah, so the scene we're referring to is the murder of Adrian Mellons, which is the inciting incident in the book for the adult storyline.
Yeah.
So the kid storyline, it's Georgie's death that causes the subsequent events, and the adult storyline, it is the murder of Adrian that brings Mike to realize Pennywise is back and brings everyone back to Derry.
Obviously this was omitted from the 90s miniseries, so that's why we're talking about it now and didn't in the last episode.
To speak for the film on the scene outside of its context, I agree with you, Viv. It's a brutal scene, and it's meant to be brutal.
Yeah, it was very upsetting.
Yeah, and it is. And we spoke briefly last week, but I did want to mention about how the whole idea of Derry is everyone's kind of, in a way, cursed to turn a blind eye, but also there is just an underlying evil that's not just Pennywise.
Okay, this is going to sound insane.
Yeah.
You know how one of the gay guys was just like, he was making fun of one of them for having a Meg Ryan haircut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when Richie is in the arcade, behind him is, you
Meg
got
Ryan.
Meg Ryan. Is that something? The
no,
connection?
I picked up it from there
probably
as well.
connected. Yeah. It's an interesting thing to include that I think makes sense for them to include, even though the 90 miniseries didn't, considering the storyline with Richie. But I can kind of understand how opening a movie with that might seem very mean-spirited if it wasn't part of the point. Yeah. So like we said, Pennywise and Derry kind of have a mutual parasitic relationship. Pennywise stays in Derry because of the evil. Yeah, it's like blurry,
isn't it?
Yeah, Pennywise doesn't cause the evil in Derry. He just feeds on it. Yeah. And they kind of loop back together.
Yeah.
And, I think it is very effective to have a scene like that in the movie. And I think there's a lot of interesting choices they make in terms of how it's done. For example, the kid who first approaches them and spits on them, that actor is an actress. Oh. That is the person who played Betty in the first movie.
Okay.
Yeah, dressed up in essentially like drag, I guess, like gender swapped to a boy. And I think that's a really interesting choice.
Yeah. So I thought Andy Muschietti mentioned they were like a stand-in. So I didn't pick up on the fact they were Betty Ripson.
Maybe
I noticed that obviously the kid was the one with the birthmark.
Yeah. Maybe like I'm starting to second guess myself on that, but that's what Andy Muschietti said. As I just think that's an interesting choice, and
playing with gender at like that specific scene as well.
Yeah, exactly, and it's hard to talk about more without talking about the real world context. So, obviously, well, not obviously, people might not know this, but the murder of Adrian Mellons is directly based on the real murder of Charlie Howard. So, I am going to spend a bit of time talking about Charlie Howard and the incident because it was incredibly relevant to Maine as a community, especially Bangor, which Derry is essentially just Bangor. Yeah. And it was really relevant when King wrote this. So Charlie Mellons. He was born January 31st, 1962 in Portsmouth.
His name was actually Charlie Mellons?
Sorry, no, it wasn't Charlie Howard. Thank you for stopping me.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Charlie Howard was born January 31st, 1961 in Portsmouth. He was quite a small man frame-wise. He suffered with asthma, and he was bullied from a young age due to his sexuality. But despite that, Charlie was out and proud. He was proudly flamboyant, he would wear jewellery, he would dress more femininely, and because of that, he was often the victim of hate crimes, vicious stuff, verbal abuse, but also even his pet kitten was murdered and left on his doorstep, so horrific shit that he had to deal with. But despite this, he found a community in Bangor. He joined a support group called Interweave, and also was a member of a Unitarian church, which was very pro-inclusion. So even though, it was a very homophobic time, there was an accepting community in Maine, in Bangor. So on Saturday, 7th of July, 1984, Charlie and his partner, Roy Ogden, were leaving a potluck hosted by Interweave when 3 teenage boys began harassing them. The boys, who were aged between 15 and 17, they were going to a party, they were driving, they had 2 girls in the car when they stopped to harass the couple, and Charlie actually recognized them from past instances, so he began to run as soon as he saw them. But unfortunately, Charlie fell, and he was struggling with his breathing, so he couldn't get away, and the boys beat him, and they threw him off the side of the State Street Bridge and into the Kentuskeg stream, where Charlie would then drown, which is exactly what happens to Adrian Mellons, except for the fact that then Pennywise gets him. But the attack itself is borderline 1-for-1.
Yeah.
So Roy was able to escape, and he pulled an alarm to get attention, and a rescue team did arrive. He did this despite the fact the boys had threatened him, but he had gotten away from them. A rescue team did try and recover Charlie's body, but it was too late. The boys didn't know that they had killed Charlie. They actually bragged about it when they went to the party that they were going to. And the next day, once they found out he was dead, one of them turned themselves in and the other 2 were arrested. Now, I really wanted to get correct information on this.
Yeah.
So I was going through a bunch of old articles, and I actually found a New York Times paper that had been what's the word? Saved, like digitized, archived. I found a New York Times paper that had been archived. So the paper was from July 29th, 1984, and it said, according to, I find this bit really hard to read. According to police, Charlie's last words were, "I can't swim," and he was only 23 years old at the time. So it's quite is a choice for King to pull so directly from this event. He wasn't the first, though. So Charlie's event was massive in... I don't know about the mainstream news, but it was massive in Maine, and it obviously had a ripple in the queer community across America. So in Bangor specifically, the Maine Lesbian Gay Political Alliance, which went on to become Equality Maine, it's a support group, an action group that was formed as a direct response to Charlie's death, and Bangor City Council worked with the local LGBTQ community to make a monument for Charlie in honor of him. There was a Maine Speak Out project that maintains the Charlie Howard Memorial Library, and June 7th, which was the date of his death, officially became Diversity Day in Bangor. And even stuff like Charlie's grave, which had previously been unmarked, has now since then got a headstone. So this had a massive effect on that community. Even the boys, the boys that committed the murder, they pleaded guilty. They were sentenced to serve time at a Maine Youth Centre until most of their 21st birthdays. They were released after a couple of years. Two of them haven't really spoken on it. They kind of disappeared from the public eye. But one of them, I wanted to say, Jim Baines, has been very open in the decades since about his involvement, and he does a lot in Bangor to sort of promote tolerance. He works in schools. He supports a lot of local politics to be pro-LGBT. So it's obvious that in the years past, he's really reformed, which is good to hear. So it is not the first and only depiction of Charlie's death. The more direct ones I could find, which are 100% confirmed, there's a gay poet called Mark Doty who wrote a poem called Charlie Howard's Descent, which I have read and is very upsetting. Lesbian poet and feminist Adrienne Rich's poem, Yom Kippur 1984, features a line referencing Charlie. The line is kicked into an icy river. And there are more that are very similar, like books, for example, that have very similar inciting incidents, but haven't been explicitly confirmed. So I'm not going to mention them by name.
Could I quickly ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
I know this isn't a one-to-one comparison, but it's just something in British media that's kind of reported on. So the murder of James Bolger, I'm sure you're aware of it, the young boy who was taken to train tracks and killed by other boys. They have adapted that into a lot of media. I know in 2019 there was an Oscar-nominated short film. There was also a storyline in Hollyoaks. I'm also reading here, apparently it was an actual CCTV frame was featured in the Law and Order video game, which that's just learning that's insane.
Yeah.
But I know with that short film in particular, which I've watched, and it's really good, it's really powerful, it's very upsetting. I know the family were really upset at the fact that movie was made, and were talking about it on the British talk shows when the Oscar nominations were out, saying they didn't approve of it.
Yeah.
Did King have any blessing, or have there been any comments from Charlie's family about either the book or the film?
I'm not sure specifically. Charlie didn't have a relationship with his biological family as far as I'm aware. I specifically read about how he was in Bangor because he had left home, essentially. I'm going to have a quick check about Roy Ogden just to see if anything did come of that.
Obviously, if you don't have that information,
I don't
stress about it, but it's just something I did want to quickly ask.
They don't really mention Roy other than the fact that he was there. So I'm not sure. I definitely think it's more appropriate to get some form of blessing. I do think in this case it's less egregious than the examples you just gave, but I definitely think that There's some sort of blessing should be had. But
the reason why I ask is because I obviously these are depicting it one for one.
Yeah.
And, I can't say for the family what they would say, but would they approve or disapprove of it being turned into consumer media of just like, well,
entertainment.
This happened, and then this fictitious character did it for a horror film or something.
Yeah.
I can't say.
I think it's definitely worth thinking about it, even outside of that, even with blessings, whether they were had or not. I definitely think it's worth the criticisms of, did it have to be so directly tied to it? You go.
Even with the last episode, we spoke about how writers do incorporate certain things, and writers, I think with certain constraints, writers should be allowed to write anything.
Yeah.
It is awkward with like certain like legal things. Like we've all watched the recent Michael Jackson movie, which doesn't go into certain controversies. Which listen to our Ghosts episode if you want to hear us talk about Michael Jackson.
Yeah, kind of rewrites, not rewrites history, but paints it in a certain light.
Yeah, it's. Yeah. I feel like writers have the freedom to do that. You can paint Michael Jackson as the guy who's saved the world, stopped all wars.
Yeah,
writers should be allowed to also do this, but also when you're writing about stuff that happened in the real world, I think you need a bit of a deft hand.
Yeah, and it is always a question of, I'm not specifically saying this myself, but I can understand other people saying about how King is a lot more mainstream, because my argument would be, where do you draw the line? Obviously there's been, like I said, poems written about him. He's featured a lot in, it was a massive part of the LGBT community at the time. There's a lot of ripple effects that I imagine, obviously King, we know it was very explicitly inspired by that, but I imagine people were probably writing about it without even realizing. And like some of the other cases I didn't name specifically, I can imagine even subconsciously might have been influenced. And that does kind of lead into kind of the discourse around this. So when the film came out and people were discussing that scene, saying mean-spirited, and we kind of made reference to it earlier in the episode about people's takes on King and not understanding the difference between what a person writes and who a person is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I have seen a lot of discourse over the years, even recently, about Stephen King's writing of queer characters. There's a YouTuber, for example. I won't name them because it's like I'm not dragging like anyone specifically for this take, but this YouTuber did a video talking about book to film adaptations, and in that he mentioned The Long Walk. And my main criticism was he didn't even read the book or see the film, but he was just basing it on his own certain criteria. But he explicitly said, I have no interest in reading Stephen King because of the way he writes gay characters. And, I'm not someone going to say, oh no, that's stupid, you should read this and see these, like, read this upsetting content. I get that. And consume art that makes you upset or uncomfortable. But also, I don't think it's fair to say that is a negative on King himself. I don't understand how people could make, speaking specifically of this one now, because obviously I'm not saying about maybe some of the characters that we haven't got to yet, but speaking specifically about what happens to Adrian Mellons, I don't think it's fair to say because he wrote that King himself is homophobic, because it's clearly a horrible thing that happens in the book. And you even get King, like, it delves into it. You see the aftermath, you see the arrests, you see the...
If King was pro that, why would he put that in his book? Why would he make that the inciting incident for them having to come back to Derry?
Yeah.
I think, contextually, you need to learn the difference between endorsement and depiction.
Yeah, and in the book, King goes one step further, and it's an interesting inclusion that I don't blame the film for not including, where you get the aftermath of Adrian Mellons, like the court case essentially, where the boys who murdered him are tried, and you even see the police force say, like, look, we didn't like him either, we weren't a fan of that lifestyle, but because you did this crime, we got to prosecute you. And he even mentions how during the whole court case, no one mentioned the clown. Like, it specifically says, like, no one mentions the clown, because regardless of Pennywise, what they did is its own evil in itself. Yeah. And that's kind of my thoughts on this. I mean, if in the years since this, I've read so many different takes. There's every take under the sun. It's very specific. There's no right or wrong answer. You know, some people think that it did go too far. Some people think that it's good that it was based off something real rather than Stephen King just writing an entirely fictionalized scenario for something that he might not maybe understand from his own experience. My personal take is that King's famous for writing human stories, and part of humanity is unfortunately hatred and bigotry. And I think that a lot of people, and we said about this when talking about Richie and how people will deny what's right in front of them. I think that sometimes people hear about the horrific hate crimes that happen to marginalize people and kind of brush them under the rug, and especially when you see that in fictional media.
No, I agree.
People,
whenever they see like an act of homophobia, they'll be like, this is extremely exaggerated.
Exactly.
I feel as though for something to express this sort of horror is to incorporate an element of reality that you just cannot deny. And I completely understand people thinking it's in horrible taste. However, life is in horrible taste sometimes. I think it works in this context.
You completely get what I'm going with this. Yeah. I think that in the same way people say, because Richie isn't explicitly say the words "I'm gay," say, well, they didn't confirm it, so it's not true.
Yeah.
But the fact
people claw at any example to make a character not queer.
I can see a world where the same discourse happens, but Adrian Mellon's death isn't based on a real event. The discourse happens, and then people can kind of say about, oh, it's homophobic, it's bad taste.
You're straw manning.
Yeah, you're straw manning. But and it sucks, but to be able to say it back with, no, this is a real thing that happened, just goes to show, like, no. And this is kind of how because I really wanted to get this right. I wrote down my thoughts and worded them exactly how I wanted to say them, because in the moment, you always sort of get muddled up. I said that basing the attack on real events stops people from brushing off the homophobia as unrealistic, and it does, in the context of the movie, ground why Richie would be afraid of his experiences when he's younger, but also still be afraid of coming out as an adult. And just to tie all up my thoughts, said, it is about found family in the face of fear and hatred. The clown and the turtle might not be real, but the emotions are, and sometimes reality is scarier than fiction.
I would like to...
Of course, you can continue speaking about it.
I would like to add to that. I feel as though what works about the horror of this sort of story is that contrast. You do get the boogeymen. You do have, like, the horror icons, more or less. These sort of vessels that people, like, implement all their fears into, contrasting with just general homophobia and bigotry.
Yeah.
And when you put those together, I think it creates like a very interesting contrast that sort of heightens either of them.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that I completely understand why some people might criticize the inclusion in the sense of they don't think it should have been so directly related to the real attack. But in my opinion, I think that's why it works.
Yeah, I don't think you can get scarier than that.
Yeah. And even in terms of the way it adapts it from the book, the explicit reason the boys give for attacking Adrian in the book isn't necessarily because he was gay, but it's because he was wearing the I Heart Derry hat. And I like that they even put that little detail in there. It makes me feel like they approached this with a lot of care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's a horrible scene, but I didn't read it as this is the view of Stephen King. This is the view of the filmmakers. Yeah. I felt it was handled very delicately.
Yeah.
But for how brutal it was delicate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think for such a harsh scene, I think it's handled weirdly with empathy.
Yeah, I think so as well.
It's always framed in such an ugly way.
Yeah.
And
I think that the thing that I'm glad they didn't include is I'm glad that the I can't swim wasn't said, because as much as it's like I mean really upset me earlier, as much as it really sets home of how horrible the attack was, I think having that tiny barrier between reality and fiction does help a little bit.
Yeah, like if there was a piece of media that came out now and you had a black character getting, arrested and they said, I can't breathe.
It's like, Yeah, it's something that needs...
That would be a step too far.
Yeah, depending on people's... Yeah.
Have you seen that one season of Orange is the New Black?
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
obviously that came out before, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, so but if anything, that's...
George Floyd wasn't the first case of that happening.
No,
I know, but it's just that phrase.
Well, actually,
that
I think
I
think you raised a really good point of the fact that this isn't something that's unique to Stephen King. This isn't something that's unique to homophobia. Life imitates art, like you said. Orange is the New Black, the I Can't Breathe scene, where I think, is it Pusey? I haven't seen that show in so many years. Is killed because of police brutality. Like you said, whether it was before the specific example that we know of George Floyd or not, because it would have been before, things like this happen. This wouldn't have been the only case of the term gay bashing exists, not because of Charlie's death, but because stuff like this has happened and continues to happen.
And I do want to give this to King. If it wasn't for the fact this was included in the book, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes we can joke and jest, and we like to have fun on these episodes. For us, it's just a chance to talk about books and movies and shows with our friends.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's good to have these conversations, and as much as something can be upsetting, sometimes you do just need to look it in the face, because much like in it, we're not kids anymore, and it's important. It's unfortunate that it's a fact of life, but it's
important. Stuff like this is important to talk about. It's
I do wish, though, we kind of got a bit more of like the aftermath, even with even if it was like Richie reading about it in like a newspaper or
I get what you mean.
I don't know how it would have worked. Obviously, I haven't read the book, so
I get what you mean.
But I feel like there's something they left on the table there.
Yeah, and like we said, we do criticize. Viv and I have criticized how Richie's arc is handled in the movie, but frankly, the fact that people do argue that Richie isn't even gay because it wasn't explicitly said, I'm glad that there is more queer stuff in this than just that, because it makes it then simple. I mean, Andy Muschietti says in the commentary Richie is gay. It's obviously what their plan was. So
yeah, I look, people will try and find ways to be like, oh no, it's not that. It's so blatantly obvious. It's not even subtle.
And even to give people the benefit of the doubt, sometimes fucking subtext and allegory goes over your head. Famously, when we watched, I say famously for us, when we watched I Saw the TV Glow the first time, I did not get the trans allegory.
well, you were saying a couple of weeks ago off mic, you were saying about when you were reading Good Omens.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes I'm saying this as the person who reads the books, and I know I've read quite a few, but if this is your first episode, I make mistakes. Sometimes you just miss a line and it reframes the entire narrative.
But like everybody can have like a different reading. Like
well,
we saw Exit 8. We all had different opinions. We were all somewhere different on that scale.
Or one of my past recommendations, one of my favorite books, just talking about like book to film adaptations, is I'm thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. The book very explicitly about suicide. Charlie Brooker? Charlie Kaufman's film about that I read as being about something entirely different. So it's, art imitates life and life imitates art. And there's other stuff I want to talk about with chapter 2 that's a lot more fun and silly. So I think it'd be good to have a little breathe and
have a little breather, and we'll get on to.
Because that's exactly what I wanted to say. So, that's good. My notes are crazy. It goes from talking about all the gay stuff to the turtle threw up the universe. He speaks to Bill about how Pennywise is afraid of them, because I couldn't remember how the turtle plays in the book, so I just wrote a little note for myself. A lot of references to the turtle in this. I think they should have gone one step further and showed him.
Listen, with that ending, why not?
Fuck it.
Yeah.
They name drop him. They name drop Maturin. They have the whole ritual of Chud.
Yeah.
That is so funny. What's it called that?
Like in the first one, they have the Lego turtle, and it's just like, oh,
yeah,
okay. And this one is just like, nah, fuck it, it's a turtle.
There's so much imagery of the turtle in Welcome to Derry. And granted, I haven't finished season 1.
I would kill for just like, I think is it episode 7 or 8 in Twin Peaks?
Yeah.
With the nuclear blast. I want that with the turtle.
Genuinely.
I want to see the birth of the universe.
Honestly, I feel like it is something that we'll see in Welcome to Derry.
Yeah, like I want one of the last but one episode of Welcome to Derry, when the show eventually comes to its end through either cancellation or natural conclusion. I want them to just be like, oh, you've been waiting fucking years for the turtle. Here it is, and it's just a full episode of the turtle and its lore with Pennywise.
Give me a 2001 just Stargate sequence with the turtle. I don't care. I want to see it. Go. It's a giant clown spider. Just go for it.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I kind of appreciate the restraint of them not showing it, because I think to general audience to be like, what the fuck is that? But obviously for us, just like, no, I want to see it.
Maybe a little bit where I'm like, okay, I get what you mean, general audiences, but maybe show it during the drug sequence when we see Pennywise's asteroid falls. Yeah. Have a split-second shot of the turtle throwing up the universe or something. Or even just a line where Mike's walking Bill through his trip where he's just like, in the beginning there was nothing but the turtle. Because that's when they name drop him. Just, they don't call him the turtle.
Did you like in the behind the scenes where they're by the river and they find a turtle?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, that's cute.
It's like, it's a sign. I like it's the kids that get excited by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, they seem like they're having so much fun.
They do.
And they actually are like that age, and it's the summer for them, actually. So
yeah.
I know that the 2 documentaries, The Summers of It, obviously they are puff pieces in a way, but I thought they were really good.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed watching all the supplementary material from the Blu-rays, from those documentaries.
I love any documentary that shows like the camera setups and stuff they have on it.
Yeah.
Part 1 didn't have as many special features. It had a couple short documentaries and deleted scenes. Part 2 had fucking tons.
Not on my Blu-ray.
No?
It just had commentary.
Oh no.
That's because I had the special 2-disc one.
You do.
They're also on
that's where the
YouTube.
Summers of It.
Yeah, that's where I thankfully Viv found them on YouTube and sent them to me, so I have watched them.
I think the most, the part in your childhood you remember most is when you're about 6, 7.
Fucking, so the story about, so there's a clip where one of them says 6, 7. Yesterday I was working and Garen sent it to the chat. I was like, I can't believe he would say this. And it just didn't click to me that it would be a stupid joke. So I spent the next 2 hours waiting for work to finish so I could watch it, only to be hit with that.
Funny thing is, Viv already had sent it.
I'd missed it.
No, so when I missed it as well, don't worry.
So when you were like reheating my nachos, I was like, God, what are they talking about?
It's because you sent like 3 videos and then it was somewhere in between there.
I sent 1 video, then I left for a bit, and then I sent...
Yeah.
No, Joe sent the other video.
Did I?
Yeah, that was the essay.
Oh, yeah, the essay, yeah.
The sexual assault.
Yeah. Like with the first movie, there's like some specific bits I would like to pull out just so we have a focused conversation. So obviously, one of the scenes I really love in the original is the Niebolt Street sequence. We do kind of have an equivalent to this.
Yeah.
So we got...
The Thing.
We got so we got Richie and Eddie go off, and there's the door with the doghouse. So we got Ben and Bev having their climax scene with
Are you talking about the ending when they're not Niebolt, when they're like Bev's in the blood and...
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. So I suppose that's not specifically Niebolt. It's more just like
the Niebolt stuff is mostly just Stanley's head turning into
the
creature from The Thing.
Well, that's something you referenced last week.
That was
how you,
dumb. Why did they do that?
I thought it was cool.
It was dumb. It was fun.
But it was cool. It's kind of like how when you watch Pacific Rim, it's like, this is a dumb movie. I love the shit out of it.
And they've also got Ben being carved in as well in that scene. Yeah.
I think I would have been more okay if it was actually like practical. It just being like a CGI mess is just like...
I don't think I thought it looked really good for CGI.
I think it looked ugly.
I agree, it looks really good. I can kind of see where you're coming from though, Viv, of practicality does help.
Especially when you're like drawing such clear homage to like a practical masterpiece. I'm not saying it has to be that good looking, but at least, I don't know, have some compromise.
No, like I do want to bring up the visual effects, because I know, everyone will be like, oh, practical is better. I do think for the visual effects, they are stylized, and the Flash will go further with that.
Yeah.
But I do think they are really good.
I think they're really good.
That it's a CGI kid's head, and you can tell it's CGI, but it does look a lot like him.
Yeah.
It's it's really high fidelity. I think it's a really good job. And the entire ending, that's Bill Skarsgård mocapped.
Yeah,
I thought that looked great. Incredible. I do think the visual effects in this, they're kind of dislocated from reality, but I like that because I feel if they were trying to go for realism, it just wouldn't have the same feeling.
Like we said earlier, when Vivi was saying about how you don't know whether to love or hate this movie, and I said I was kind of afraid to come back to this because of the maximalism. That is something I do appreciate. They just go hard with it. They
also
go
haven't seen the first episode of Welcome to Derry, which we talked about before. That kind of it's got the same style.
Yeah,
it is.
It goes for more of it. Yeah. Be very interesting to watch all of that because from up to where I've seen, I haven't even seen Pennywise on that show.
Yeah.
But
same.
Yeah. There's the specific thing. There's one thing I just want to talk about because I kind of brushed over Nibble and we started going to that because I find it interesting. Is how Ben and Bev's arcs are handled. And I think this is kind of an effect of the way the films were made. In the first film, Bev realizes that Ben wrote the poem. And then she forgets, which I think is fine because of the forgetting is part of the plot. Obviously, in the book, Bev fully sleeps with Bill before going to Ben. And I do like the change that they kiss and then immediately realize this isn't right.
This is nothing on the two actors. I don't feel the chemistry between them.
That's fair.
As in Jessica Chastain and Jay Ryan?
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't think they have scenes together.
Yeah,
they have genuine like sort of comedy moments. Every scene of them just always felt like I've got to shoot my shot, man. Yeah, but it kept doing it like 6 times.
I think that's completely fair. I think the kids definitely had more chemistry. Between them. One thing I did notice a lot is, and I think I'm just kind of trained to this because of all the background horror stuff, like. In part 1, you've got the librarian behind Ben. In the second one, you've got the old lady behind Bev. During any scene where Bev is talking to Bill and Ben is there, you can always see him in the background.
Yeah, I know.
And I think it's so funny, but also really works, especially in the diner scene, the Chinese restaurant, when Bill and Bev talk for the first time, and you can see blurry Ben turn over behind them looking at them.
It comes across so insecure.
It does, but I don't know. I think it works. And maybe I definitely agree with you about the chemistry, but it still really works for me. I found myself.
So why are you talking to me right now? Why are you talking to Bill? I'm not fat anymore.
Yeah. I used to be fat, like a regular porker.
Oh God, I almost cried when he was in the grave, and he just not only was he like drowning in dead, Pennywise was calling him a fatty. And I was just like, dude, chill out.
Always be a fatty. Like, why has he got such beef with Ben?
I know. He's in his own grave.
You think he'd be mad or like have more beef with like Bill and Bev, the people who directly harm him?
He's just like, it's like fatty, no parents, basically.
Yeah, I think he definitely bullies Ben the most.
Yeah,
especially in just his Pennywise form. He's just showing up, just like speaking shit at him.
Yeah.
I do like that we got.
I'm gonna manifest your guilt of your brother dying. You're fat.
Yeah, I do like that. I like that they include "Kiss Me, Fat Boy." Tim Curry's is better in my opinion, but I'm glad that of all the lines to get in, I'm glad that got in.
Yeah.
Do you prefer that over the "Here's Johnny"?
I fucking hate "Here's Johnny."
Yeah,
I've always hated it. It stamps you right at that scene. It's so unnecessary.
Speaking of unnecessary, what about that music cue?
Oh, fucking Angel of the Morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's bugged me for years.
Yeah, okay.
I still don't like that.
All of the fucking fetch quest stuff, some of it I'm like, oh, okay, this is alright. Like, I like Bev's sequence enough. I like Ben's. Especially fucking Sophia. Is it Sophia? Lillis. Yeah, Sophia Lillis. I love Sophia Lillis's acting in Ben's flashback sequence before she catches fire. Because it does feel like not like Bev.
Yeah.
She plays it so subtly differently.
Uncanny.
Yeah, but I do not like Eddie's sequence during that. I don't like his mother tied up. I don't like the leper, and I don't like the fucking music thing.
It seems too slow, I think.
Yeah, especially because that's a kind of a turning point. Eddie realizes, and it comes back at the end, Eddie realizes you can hurt it if you're not afraid of it. But with the whole fucking music cue as well, it's just a fucking tonal mess.
Yeah.
You know? And it's so short as well. You know, if the music maybe continued or it was diegetic for some reason.
It's just that one slow-mo shot
Yeah. It just makes no sense. Because the other, like, needle drops, for example, in the first movie, they needle drop New Kids on the Block when they show the poster and it's played as a joke. That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's no reason for, like...
It just comes across insecure of, like, the scene they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know whether to play it for comedy or not.
Yeah, I completely agree. But saying that, I'd like to flow from that into speaking about Eddie, as with what happens to him, of course, in the story. I really like how they play on his fear during the scene where Richie is being attacked by Stanley's head, and I do find myself very emotional when in regards to the stuff that happens with Eddie, obviously leading up to his death, but even the stuff like this kills monsters and him being the first one to hit Pennywise.
Yeah.
But then all that also brings me to like my criticisms of the ending. So how do you two feel about the defeat of Pennywise?
Oh, well,
I didn't like it back in 20.
Them bullying him to death, essentially.
I liked it a lot more on both of these rewatches.
I've always been a defender of it because I think it thematically makes sense. It feeds on fear, you take it away. I am watching it with more of a critical lens now, and I do think a nitpick is, but they're still afraid. They're bullying at it, they're making it feel small, but they're still afraid of Pennywise. I think maybe they should have done a little bit more of a switch of Eddie, use that anger. Like, one of the bits I love is when Richie rips his arm off, and you get that feeling of like, no, Richie's ready to fucking kill this thing. I think maybe if they had that more of a switch of not just, oh, we need to make him feel small, more of, he killed Eddie, let's fucking get him. And then because they're just so riled up, they're no longer afraid of him, and that's what makes Pennywise small. That could have worked better, because even at the end, Pennywise, like, little fucking flat Pennywise. I love that look.
Yeah.
He jumps
I really liked it in the behind the scenes where they're just like stapling his head and he just sat there.
Yeah. I love, like, he jumps up and they all jump back, and it's like, yeah, they're still afraid of him. And I know that's a choice, but I think it should have gone further of, no, they're past being afraid now. They're ready to kill him, because that's the whole point of the scene is they're taking the fear away. But I still like it as a payoff. I just think it could have been done better.
How they executed Eddie's death.
It feels too...
It felt a bit comedic when he got stabbed.
Yeah.
Where I feel so that should have been like a very big emotional thing.
Yeah, considering how emotional it is then with Richie grieving him. Like, I sobbed the first time I saw this, and I still cried this time a little bit, of the scene where they're joking about Eddie in the water at the end, and the only one who can't joke about it is Richie because he's just crying. Like, that makes me so emotional. But I do agree, the actual death itself is a bit too comedically timed. Like, have the whole thing of like, oh, I killed it and I'm being excited, but maybe even the framing of it. And like rather than it being a big shot and then seeing it go
like
through
framing
him,
it in a big wide, maybe it's like it's making it like almost an equivalent to like a Final Destination kill, which is done for laughs.
Yeah, maybe have it where it's like close and you still get the whole, I did it, I killed it, I think I killed it, and then maybe you just see his face rather than, because that it's just how it's shot, really. I don't think the death itself is bad.
No,
I think it's just the way they executed it. Yeah. But
Yeah. I do just have some things I want to say about the story as a whole across both the movies.
Okay, we'll get into that last then.
Okay.
My final major thought on Chapter 2, the last thing I really want to get both your opinions on, and I'm gonna start with my opinion on this. I don't like the change of Stanley's note being at the end, where Stanley's suicide is reframed as him sacrificing himself almost so that they can defeat Pennywise.
No, I agree.
I
completely.
think that because they have the first movie, and obviously people who know the story will watch the first one knowing that Stanley's going to die, I think they wanted to be a lot more careful of how they approached his death, and I understand that, but I've never personally liked the narrative of his suicide was him being brave.
Yeah.
It's horrible that it's him being so terrified he'd rather die than face it, but I think that's kind of the point of his death.
Trying to use that suicide as like... as a narrative tool, just feels like it feels in bad taste a little bit.
And I
know it's like quite interesting considering how much we were talking about a previous scene.
Exactly.
Well, bad taste, but that being utilized in that way didn't feel right to me.
Well, especially given that one of the losers would go on.
Yeah, in real life. That happened last episode as well. One of the cast of the miniseries took his own life.
Yeah.
It just, I've I feel like there's a lot of suicide representation in media, and I feel like that is kind of an overarching theme of any time it's used, say, not weaponized, for example, and that's the wrong choice of word for this context, but used as a plot point in that sort of thing. And especially I don't like how Stanley's voiceover is kind of the final ending note where we get the montage.
Yeah.
I personally don't like that, but I understand why the change was made.
See, I'm torn, because I think it, like, in the movie, as it plays out, I think it works.
Yeah.
But I think thematically, you're right, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Especially given how when I watched this, at the very least, I watched them essentially back to back, which I know you two did when you saw it in the cinema. I obviously didn't see them back to back in the cinema. Knowing what was coming with Chapter 2, at least like the broad strokes, I did find it working a lot more. And I did mention in the previous episode that when it comes to Stanley, we see more of him this time. And I feel like there is a lot more framing of Stanley separate. We get it explicitly when he is separated from the losers in the tunnel at the end of Chapter 1, and has the weird head lady essentially eating him.
Yeah.
And we do get a lot more of his Jewish explanation. We see him practicing for his Torah, his actual reading.
Yeah.
I think I was remembering a scene at the dinner table, but I think that's from the pilot of Welcome to Derry. Of like his,
that's from his family in Welcome to Derry.
Yeah.
The Torah scene is interesting, especially because it's used differently. There's a deleted scene in the first movie. I don't know if you'll have seen it, Viv. You know the music montage after the breakup? That has Stanley's speech over it, and the speech differs between the Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. But both of them basically culminate in Stanley kind of taking pride in himself as a loser and kind of gaining that confidence to, go face Pennywise.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I think that they just kind of like how people criticize shows, for example, Stranger Things, for being afraid to kill off characters. I think that they knew that people loved the kids in the first movie, but killing Stanley was necessary. So they kind of wanted to like have it be sad for the film, but then at the end kind of give something a bit more,
a bit of catharsis.
I can understand it even if I disagree with it.
Yeah. Especially, they just booked a holiday as well.
Yeah.
His poor wife has to go on holiday alone.
That's the thing, it is tragic because, for the literally 30 seconds you see Stanley and his wife, like they seem happy. Yeah. And
obviously he's the only one who remembers, which does bring us back to the point we made earlier about how it probably would have made more sense if Stanley was the one who was kidnapped instead of
Bev.
Yeah. I think that would make Chapter 1 a lot stronger, and then you'd feel it a lot more. But then, you don't have the reason for them to stick around in Derry, just like, if we leave, we die, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah, I also don't like that. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I don't like the change of they're doing it because they're going to die if they leave anyway. I think they should be doing it because it's the right thing to do. Yeah. But I understand that they wanted to give them more explicit motivation.
I feel like it's fine to have, like, Richie and Eddie feel that way, but then you have Bill, like, with his guilt around the kid who lives at his house. I don't think it was necessary for him to be the kid in the restaurant as well, but, save
they
obviously
money,
wanted
to
hire
do
the
that.
same actor. One thing that is Chapter 2 exclusive, though, is the way the scenes transition into one another. That's always kind of irked me. I like a good scene transition, but these just seem really, like, showy.
The only one
having Jessica Chastain like in the same scene as young Beverly goes past.
Yeah, or just like, hey, Ben, and then look at the stars and it's the puzzle pieces.
I kind of like that, even though it's really stupid and unnecessary, but only because I'm like, that's a cool shot. It doesn't need to be in this.
Or also like this, here's the sewers and Henry Bowers comes out.
Yeah.
Like that stuff, they did repurpose a lot of stuff they shot for the first movie into the second one. Obviously there are stuff that has been refilmed entirely.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sort of, for me at least, seeing those transitions just makes me think, okay, you're actively making it harder for yourself to make that supercut.
Makes me think of Saw 4.
Yeah.
Which I do love the transitions in that, but I do agree. Speaking of...
They should have utilised more side swipes.
Yeah.
Speaking of the
Star
supercut...
transitions.
Speaking of the supercut then, should we speak about thoughts on the collective then?
Okay.
I feel like you two actually have more to say on this than me.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
I just want to start off with the opening with Georgie. I know how you said the kid in the 90s adaptation was really cute.
Yeah.
When the first one came out, I saw it in cinemas opening day, and around the time I had a young nephew, like very young, not as young, not the same age as Georgie, but still quite young, and I remember being like viscerally upset, like genuinely like tears like forming in my eyes, just hearing the sounds of Georgie's screaming. Even still, it is viscerally upsetting. I'm sure that's a universal thing. Hearing a child scream is not a lovely thing to hear, but it's something about it just like really made me feel like my stomach turn. And that it's an adorable kid.
It
is like
18 years old now.
It is like the iconic scene of this entire thing, and you can understand why. It's a very visceral, like primal fear image.
It immediately sets itself apart from the miniseries with its maximalist of Georgie's arm gets bit off.
Like you see
I fucking love the shot of his hand coming out. That's a great shot. You know, it sets itself apart and establishes Muschietti style straight away.
The way I would say it was like it's probably the peak of the horror. Of the thing, which is, it's just like, oh, that kind of sucks us at the beginning, but at the same time, it makes you go into this expecting like, oh shit, they're not afraid to like murder a child on screen. Who knows what the fuck else is coming up?
Which is kind of still flows into Welcome to Derry. Obviously, I won't spoil it for you, Viv. I assume
I know what happens.
Oh, you've listened to our episode, have you? Or just there we go. That makes sense. Then I won't spoil it for the listeners then. But it's one of those things again where it establishes, oh fuck, we can do this. Okay, it's kind of.
I think that is genuinely like a big element of why this prevails so much. It's the vulnerability of the kids. These aren't just like narrative poem pieces. These are actual like characters who are very much in danger. It's very
that's
effective.
why chapter 2 feels less like there's less at stake.
In
a way.
But just having the vulnerability of being children and using that.
And I think it's interesting how Pennywise is used. Obviously, Tim Curry and Bill Skarsgård play them very differently. And there are times where I think Bill Skarsgård's trying too hard to be the scary clown. But then also, I like how when he's with the adults, he is kind of framed more like more visibly. For example, I'm thinking I was thinking Bill Hader. The Richie scene where he's with the balloons. I love the way that looks. Just Pennywise is just out in the open with these now. He's not trying to like hide behind and increase that fear. He knows they're afraid of him. So he's just being open about it.
How do you feel about with chapter 2 kind of recontextualizing that Bill was faking being sick at the beginning?
That's an interesting change. I think it definitely works in the fact of adding to his guilt. I actually think, and I don't know if it's because I knew he was faking, I think you can see that in, I can't remember his name, the actor.
Jaden Martell.
I think you can see that in Jaden Martell's acting. I don't know if it was a choice they made at the start of, oh, he's kind of faking it, or if it's just something they retrofitted after the fact. But even the way it goes like, oh, I would play with you if I wasn't sick. Like, that feels like how a kid would fake it. And so I actually think it really works, even if it's it's a change, but I think it's a good change.
I really like that change. Like, I remember when I was younger, having younger siblings, and one day I went to Scouts. I was a scout, learning how to do knots and cool shit like that. And when I got back, my sister was playing alone in the garden, and she cut her chin or something real bad, and so I was sort of thinking if I was there, that wouldn't have happened. Obviously, she wasn't eaten by a clown. But, I did sort of have a little bit of guilt, just realistically, I shouldn't have had guilt because it's not my fault that she got hurt. But if I was there, maybe she wouldn't have.
It's really interesting hearing your opinions from the context of like an elder sibling or, as an uncle, because I just couldn't see it from that lens because I'm the younger sibling.
Yeah.
So in this situation, I'd be the Georgie.
Well, speaking of something we can probably agree on then, I find it very interesting that none of the losers have children.
That's a choice.
Yeah.
That is canon.
Yeah.
So one of the things, does it get mentioned in the miniseries? Or did neither version mention it?
I don't recall them ever bringing it up.
Maybe it's just in the book then. It's a specific thing they notice, because at the end, I'm pretty sure as well, Bev and Ben, B names. Not as confusing as Mike, Matt, and Mark, but still a bit some. Bev
Stop
and Ben,
whinging.
I know, sorry.
I'm going to turn off the episode.
Ben and Bev are expecting a child. It's like a whole thing of like the curse is broken. It is a specific choice that they made, that they are still sort of possessed by something from Derry, that they can't have kids. So yeah, that is it's cool that you picked up on that. That is something that's explicit in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just an interesting choice, like, because you could so easily give them kids and be like, oh, now we need to fight it because he's coming for our kids.
Yeah.
And that's something they just straight up don't do, which is, I think in lesser hands, they would have done that.
It's an easy way to increase stakes.
Yeah, and
Just
also
skins.
because
every generation gets like, all right, your turn.
Yeah,
because the kids in the first one was so successful. It's just like we need kids. We need to put a kid in this movie.
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying.
Yeah. So no, I thought that was I really quite liked that.
It should have been like the Halloween reboot, where the parents are training their children for Pennywise.
Yeah.
They're going through Pennywise boot camp, and then he just gets fucking shredded by these like 7 military group.
I was going to say,
kids.
because Pennywise, especially because especially with that of just, this is a guy, he's like, you'll be able to kill him fine. It's kind of like what Mike tries to do with the Ritual of Chud of, I didn't tell you it failed because I wanted you to believe. If you raise a kid to just be like, one day you will meet this clown and you're going to kill him, that kid's not going to be fucking afraid of anything.
Nah.
Honestly, it was nice going back to chapter 2 after our discussion in the previous episode about how we kind of wanted Mike to do a bit more.
Yeah.
I think he's much improved in this version.
Interesting, because I do agree. I think, especially in chapter 2, I think he's underutilized personally in chapter 1.
Yeah.
And some people have criticized that and saying it's because they give his stuff to Ben. And they do give the historian stuff to Ben. But the library stuff is also Ben's from the book. So I understand why they merged them. Although I think that maybe they could have just had Mike have the historian stuff.
I feel like it makes sense for it to be Mike, but also maybe if we saw Mike and Ben sort of
that's what I was going to say. One thing I like in the chapter 2, a small moment, is seeing Eddie interact with Stanley. And there's a deleted scene in chapter 1 where Stanley and Mike are outside the Neibolt house, and Stanley says to Mike, I can't go in there, and Mike comforts him. And I think that's the only time you see them speak one-on-one.
Yeah.
So it would have been maybe nice if maybe that was something Ben and Mike had shared, and he would have felt like he was more of a presence in the first movie.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that the second movie gives him what he needs and what he deserves.
It is another thing where most horror movies don't come in over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
And the first one was like 2 hours 10.
Yeah.
And the second one, 2 hours 49. But yeah, no, it's I could definitely see the first one be expanded upon, but because it's so successful in its current form, I completely see why it is the way it is.
Yeah.
Even though if we're nitpicking, I would be like, oh, add this, take away that, add this.
Exactly.
But
you can go around in infinite circles, finding more things we like and more things we don't like. But speaking of that, then, as a collective whole, let's talk about the supercut. So you said there was some sort of update?
Yeah. So Andy Muschietti has been talking about this since 2019. Recently said that it's being worked on, but it's more so trying to find the time to fit it all in between developing Welcome to Derry.
Yeah.
And that Batman movie that I don't believe is happening. So Andy Muschietti is supposed to be directing The Brave and the Bold for the DCU. Quite stupidly, because I feel like I am going to be proven wrong, but I still think they're going to merge with Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah, fair. I can't imagine we're going to have two Batmen going on at the same time, but,
So it's something he still wants. He says that there's still some stuff they need to film, which is interesting, because obviously it can't be stuff with the kids, because they're so old.
Yeah.
So much older now. I feel like with the adults, can't film anything with Eddie.
Of course, yeah.
Maybe it's stuff that's not even with like the
those
main
characters.
We're gonna have a lot more shots of behind the people's heads.
Yeah.
They're gonna add Audra back in and add all that storyline that was cut to Bill's wife.
They could be more Henry Bowers stuff. Yeah. They could be more Pennywise, which would probably be the easiest thing to add.
It's a nitpick I have with the whole collective whole. I know it was shot for the first movie, Henry coming out of the drain, and they put it in the second movie. How the fuck did he survive that fall?
No idea.
I mean, I know it's like, oh, there's a killer clown from space. I'm not saying it's a major breaking point, but I remember watching the first one.
Maybe Pennywise caught him.
Yeah, maybe. I remember watching the first one and thinking, oh, did they kill him off? Like, maybe they should have included that in the first movie.
I was thinking, like, nitpicks myself. I was like, why does Pennywise say, oh, it's a gazebo to Eddie when he wasn't even there? And I was just like, he's an omnipotent clown. Yeah, it's fine. Don't question it.
He reads minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does read minds as well. Yeah.
I do like the gazebo bit. I think that's really funny. The gazebo bit.
I'm not sure if it would work. I don't know how it could work. Just in terms of pacing, structure. These are two separate movies with two separate arcs.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could Frankenstein this into one major...
Do you feel like there's a visual difference between them? Not talking about the de-aging, but just like the way they're shot.
No, I feel as though there's enough. Yeah. Look at that tilt angle
I think that
Muschietti uses a bunch. So that's probably fine. I think they look like pretty comparable. It's not that. Okay. It's more just the sort of the narrative structure of both of them are so different.
The only reason I bring that up is because I've got both of these on 4K. The first one looks good on 4K. The second one looks so good. Looks genuinely incredible. And I went back to the first one and just like, did I actually put in the 4K disc? I did. I think it's because it's only single layer, whereas part 2 is dual layer, which if you want to get into the technical stuff, research it online. But yeah, part 1 does look very good on 4K. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But it looked, putting in the second movie, it was just like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Do these really like fit visually? And I don't know if that's more a matter of how I watched it with my setup, or whether it's a difference between the two movies, because they do have different cinematographers.
Yeah.
But you know,
because they're both shot on digital, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah. One thing I'll say is just to sort of speak into if it does come out, I would like to see it. I'd like to see a version of this cut together. It feels more like a thing a fan project would do. So it's kind of interesting to see the guy who made the movies try and do it.
Mm.
And, you know...
Or like a whole bloody affair thing, except way more complicated.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, Langoliers, for example, had Timekeepers in Eternity, which was made by a fan. But if you explain that concept to someone before watching it, they would have been like, what the fuck, how does that work? And I, for one, thinks that worked really interestingly. Granted, that went a lot more differently from terms of the style. It made it work because it had a unique style that could fit the structure they wanted. But I think it could work. I don't know. I really want to see it. I hope it is something that does get made.
See, I feel like if they are going to release it, next year would be perfect. 10 years since the first one.
I think I'll raise you one 27 years later.
Well, it took forever for a bloody affair to be shown outside of Quentin's.
You know how we were talking about Merrily We Roll?
Oh, Merrily We Roll.
Oh, yeah. That one was shot over 20 years.
That's insane. I didn't know that until Viv told me like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. Richard Linklater on the next one. He actually shoots part one and then waits 27 years and then it just like uses the same actors.
Yeah, because I kind of did want to talk about that. It's kind of... it's not a legacy sequel, but it kind of has like a similar vibe to one.
Yeah, it does. It has that's what I was saying when
Yeah.
I said chapter 2 has such a reverence for the first one. It's like, oh, remember these guys? God, remember this scene?
When in actuality it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. It has a nostalgia for a thing that happened like no time.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It would be really funny if they did, like, oh yeah, we've greenlit chapter 2. It'll come out in like 2034.
Yeah.
That'd have been pretty cool. And then they just use the kids.
No, my math's wrong. 2044.
2044. My question is always, and my question is this for Richard Linklater, of genuinely just, what happens if one of them dies?
Film's over.
What do they do?
Well, on Boyhood, I know that there were like plans of like...
They changed the narrative completely.
Yeah, well, I know they said, Richard Linklater said, look, if I die, Ethan Hawke, you got to finish the movie for me.
That's cool.
And they had like a pact for that.
In 27 years, we will finish this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, if this didn't exist, I'd be down for an It movie that actually does do that. I'm glad that they didn't wait 27 years.
Yeah, I'm glad we could see them both.
Because I'm for one annoyed that as much as I love Richard Linklater, I'm annoyed that I have to wait another 20 years to see where they go.
Just wait until you hear about that John Malkovich movie directed by Robert Rodriguez called 2115. It doesn't come out until 21.
Well, in a weird way, it's like I will be dead by then, so whatever. Whereas the Richard Linklater one, it's like, well, I hope I'm still here in 20 years, but who knows? Yeah, I think
Bob Gray. We get a little Bob Gray.
We get a little Bob Gray. I don't personally mind not seeing Bob Gray.
Yeah.
I'm sure Welcome to Derry will delve into it a little bit more, but it's a cool little reference.
Do you remember the trailer for this movie, which was just the scene with Beverly and the old
Yes,
woman?
actually, I do. Yeah.
I thought that was like, of them going back to places, that was the highlight.
I'm glad we came back to that because I do agree. I really like that sequence. But I wonder if you feel the same, Viv. It does play on the trope of scary old naked lady.
Yeah.
Granted.
I liked it when she was like hitting the gritty though.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Granted, that kind of came out before some of the more egregious examples I can think of.
Barbarian.
Like Barbarian.
Weapons,
for example. Granted, weapons without the nudity, but still scary lady. The Shining as well, yeah, early example of it. But I think that it's interesting revisiting that because I do
Old
really
people
like
are gross
that sequence.
and scary.
Yeah. It's interesting thinking how many times since then that has come up. But
it's a common fear.
It's a common fear. It's a common trope.
People are scared of old women.
But I do like
people
that.
are scared of women who they can't fuck.
Yeah. Yep. Straight up.
Yeah. Well, that's why when you see women in horror movies, they're either old ladies or children.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point. Viv, have you already spoke on kind of your overarching theme?
This story has just given me brainworms. I'm kind of obsessed about it.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating story. It's kind of a mess, but I think that's what kind of draws me to it.
Yeah.
It has enough ideas for about 6 different novels.
Yeah.
Spliced into one, and it's so close to connecting together into honestly a mosaic on everything that's like everything about horror that I find fascinating. That sort of that idea of sexual repression, stranger danger, racism, friendship, and using friendship to overcome them. I think culminizing it all into, I don't know if that's a real word. Culminate into this just, obviously it's a behemoth of a book. I'm coming at this from what I'm piecing together through both of these adaptations now, and I think there is genuinely a brilliant story here. From what I've heard from the book, honestly, I think I prefer what they have done with these adaptations because they're able to highlight what is best within the story's DNA, and but it's still going to be bogged down by those Stephen Kingisms. But it's obviously still highlighted by the good stuff.
Yeah,
it's a fascinating story.
I think that's why I love it so much. I think that there's so much to delve into. But Karen, you remember?
I've just remembered my point. In chapter 1, the only one who we don't really see have a one-to-one confrontation with Pennywise is Richie.
in chapter 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
they play it in 2.
We get it in 2, but obviously Ben sees him again, Eddie sees him again. In the first one, the closest we get is that room of clowns.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's funny that the clown of the group is scared of clowns. I thought that was like pretty good.
Yeah.
It does make me think, like, did they have an idea? Was there going to be something referencing his
possibly
queerness?
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't know.
Maybe they were thinking, we can't include that in this one, because like people picked up on chemistry between Finn Wolfhard and
Jack Dylan Grazer.
Jack Dylan Grazer. I couldn't remember the others' names.
It's okay.
Jack Dylan Grazer, and of
the
course
one
it's
from
because
Friendship.
even though it's because they're good actors and stuff, and obviously who knows how early sexuality develops, but obviously Jack Dylan Grazer has since come out as bi. But it's something that could happen. There are many examples of films that were meant to be queer and just didn't have that included.
Yeah. And with chapter 2, we see Henry Bowers coming out of the sewer. So there are definitely deleted scenes from the first one, which are not on the home media release.
Yeah.
So makes me think that when we do see this supercut, there may actually be more stuff to it than we're thinking.
Yeah.
It does make me think about how they are going to release it, though. Because I know some people have said, because Welcome to Derry was such a big hit on HBO Max, that it should go to Max, like Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But I could see that happening, but also, I don't know, saying like, this thing was so big on streaming, we should put this on streaming, that for me kind of doesn't make sense. For me, it's like, this was so successful, we could make so much money off this if we put it in cinemas. But also, I understand that that's not a general opinion.
Like I
especially for the length it would be.
Yeah,
I can definitely understand if it's a 6-hour movie, not putting it in cinemas.
Yeah.
I know the original plan for Zack Snyder's Justice League was to turn it into like a 6-part series. I don't know if that would work for this, but there are definitely different ways you can structure
go back to
this.
the George Romero idea.
I personally wouldn't want to see this as a series. I would, if I was going to see it as a collective, I'd want it to be like one big project, even if they do just put it on streaming and sort of say like, watch at your own time, at your own accord, because I think a changing a film to a series structure is different as well as already stitching 2 films together.
Having seen half of Zack Snyder's Justice League, I can kind of see it because it's split into parts anyway. This isn't.
No,
that.
exactly.
I don't know. I think if they are going to release it next year, which would be 10 years since the first movie came out, would be perfect. Or 10 years after the other one.
Yeah.
But like if by 2029 we don't have it, I'm not going to be like, oh, okay, we're going to see this.
Yeah.
It's going to be something like, okay, it's a pipe dream.
Yeah. And if it does ever come out, we can cover it all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even with all the flaws and all my grievances, this is probably the best outcome this story could have got with like the big budget movie adaptation.
Yeah.
This is probably the best we could have got.
The narrative of just adaptation as a whole. Yeah. I agree.
So even though I have grievances, this is probably like the best outcome that could have happened.
Yeah.
And if we are talking about favourites, I do prefer this version to the 90s miniseries.
I do as well. I have a nostalgia for the 90s series, but if you made me choose between either of them, it would 100% be these 2 films as a collective.
Like, I don't know entirely if I agree with this sentiment, but I prefer the losers in this one, and I think I prefer Pennywise in that one.
I love Tim Curry's.
I really like Bill Skarsgård's
That's the thing. I
Pennywise
love
as well.
Tim Curry's Pennywise, but I do think Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise works for these films. It's so stylistically different. You couldn't just swap the Pennywises. I think Tim Curry's Pennywise only works because of how like silly and stripped back the originals are. But it's each to their own.
I don't know. I like both adaptations.
Yeah.
I'd give the edge to this one. Do you have a particular favourite? Because I know last time you said you prefer the actors of this one with the structure of that one. Is that still true?
Having gone back to it, I think maybe I prefer the miniseries.
Yeah.
As like a whole,
I
think it works better. But I do have a little bit of nostalgia for chapter 1. even though I do think I have noticed a lot more flaws with it. It's kind of hard to say. I'm just going to go with the miniseries for now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's completely fair. That's the nice thing with opinions. They change over time.
Yeah.
And next time we talk about it, because we will talk about it again in the future, either the supercut or with Welcome to Derry, which we definitely will cover.
Or the Hindi series.
Or the Hindi series. Well, our opinions might have changed.
And Joe will read a book
again. I've already said when we do Welcome to Derry, I'll read the interludes.
Okay.
I will reread the interludes and the past stuff. I will not be rereading the full book.
Well, as this is the end of the season...
Oh, yeah.
I can't entirely remember if we did this when we did Doctor.
We did do a roundup.
Okay. Do we kind of just want to talk about our favourite things we've spoken about since we started off with Carrie
Let me get
at the
a
beginning
list.
of the year?
Oh, well, that's easy then.
I think we know Viv's. Viv, do you want to start?
Let me tell you, man, I fucking love Carrie. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I assume by that you mean the 2002 one.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Listen, man, the 70s Carries is one of my favourite pieces of media that's ever existed.
Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, in terms of books, Langley's sleeper hit for me.
I did surprisingly really enjoy
like the
Langley.
miniseries.
Honestly, Langoliers is the one I'd probably say is like the like underdog, the one I was like, shocked by, like how much I
even
liked
though
it.
I was more critical of the series, the miniseries than you two were, I fucking loved that book. I devoured that book. I still also Cujo. That's another book I loved.
I really like
film.
Timekeepers of Eternity. That was
Timekeepers of Eternity is great. Good season overall. But if I had to pick my favorites, I mean, it's either between Brian De Palma's Carrie or It. I mean, it's it's It.
I'm gonna say my favorite is It.
Yeah.
Nothing. Not to say that Carrie was bad. It wasn't. Carrie is probably in second place.
Yeah. I definitely prefer It as a book, but obviously it's like comparing fucking a tome to a short story, even though Carrie's not a short story, it is a novella.
What's your least favorite we've done this year?
Book, I can't, not Lawnmower Man's 10 pages, but it barely even counts for the adaptation.
I think your favorite book should be Golden Years because you didn't have to read one.
No, least favorite book I guess would have to be Running Man, because I did actively dislike it as much as I did like the adaptations. So least favorite book, Running Man.
Not even Dreamcatcher?
I preferred Dreamcatcher. It was
Dreamcatcher was fun.
There was stuff in
Dreamcatcher was fun.
Like, I preferred the films Running Man to Dreamcatcher. The book, I preferred Dreamcatcher. I think Dreamcatcher had a lot of interesting things to discuss.
I honestly, I really like the director's cut of Lawnmower Man.
Yes.
I still think Lawnmower Man 2 and Carrie 2002 are probably the worst of the worst.
Carrie 2002 commits the crime for me of being the most boring and forgettable version of Carrie.
I think I remember more the commentary than I do that.
Yeah, the commentary is so fucking funny.
What would you say when you made that?
I don't know. I would at least edit some shit
honestly,
out.
I really enjoyed the Rage.
Yeah, Rage was fun.
Rage was
I still really quite like the 2013 Carrie.
I
It's
like
not
the
perfect,
2013
but
one.
I'll say I like it.
Yeah, I think if I'm making a sweeping statement, favorite new book, Langoliers. Favorite book overall, It. Favorite film overall, It chapter 1 and 2. Least favorite book, Running Man.
If you had to rewatch any of these right now, which would it be? I'm going to start off. I'm going to say Cujo, just because if you listen to that episode, I was sick, and I think I didn't give it its fair due.
I think you'd appreciate Cujo on a rewatch. For me, recency biased, It, but also it's between It and Carrie. We had a really good, strong start with and the end to these seasons.
Ghosts.
Yeah. Good seasons. I mean, every time I'm just like skimming over because we swapped Ghost for another thing we're going to talk about 2 episodes time. But yeah, that's the end of this season.
That's the end of this season, and
which means nothing for the listeners.
Yeah,
it's only for us.
It's just that when we started, it was like, oh, okay, we can have 11 episodes out by the end of the year, so we just got 11 episode seasons now.
Yeah, which I like.
It's more so just a thing for us to be like, okay, every season we got to like have like
a couple big hits.
Quota,
Yeah, it's for us structurally. as these come out, you'll realize the pattern of start with big one, end with big one, sprinkle in some short stories.
Yeah.
For
Except
my
for when we
sake.
do Children of the Corn, we're just gonna like surround that with like one-offs because we just need it.
Yeah, we need breaks. But do you want to talk about what we're doing next episode?
Well, I'll do that right at the end. I think first of all we should just do a last recommendation for the year, which is not the year for the season. I meant to say last recommendation for the season, which is something we only introduced this year. So we didn't do this before.
Yeah. This is a segment I really like that we added.
Yeah.
I forgot what was on my Kindle. It is I searched how many times the N-word was used in it using the Kindle search function. It capped out at 100. I know there's more than 100 uses of it. But yeah, nightmare.
But by the time we get to Welcome to Derry, you have to have a count of how many times.
I mean, I could probably go through exactly. I'm going to just take a picture of this just to send to you. This is a cursed image. There we go. Okay, and the reason I got my Kindle is because my recommendation is on here.
Okay, but I'm going first.
Yeah, I'm not going first. You're going first.
So rude.
Fucking leave me alone.
So rude. Well, my recommendation is not really something that I've done yet, but it's been a long time.
Are you recommending yourself it?
My what?
Are you recommending yourself it?
Self it.
Yourself it.
Yourself it.
Oh, no.
Are you recommending people to get a job?
I'm recommending getting a job.
That's insulting to say to Meg, our listener.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so for some context, I found out towards the end of last year, around the time that Viv was having her surgery, so that'll place you in our timeline, that I was going to be let go from my job. So I was applying for jobs around then, and I got a formal offer of employment before Christmas. We are currently in May, and I'm finally started my job in 2 days' time. Of recording.
I've had surgery and recovered.
Yeah.
They fucked up my face, and now I'm back to normal.
Look, I'll say this: the job that I am doing, it does require a lot of checks because I am going to be working within. I'm not going to give away what I'm doing, but it's
working with vulnerable people.
Working with vulnerable people, I need a lot of like checks to make sure that I am able to do it, and it's been nice having some time off, but also it's nice to know that I don't have to live off ice soup.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Think of how snatched you've got in that time.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
My pussy is popping.
You go next.
Me go next. Mine is a book. I haven't finished it yet. Can't
recommend it then.
Fine. First turn.
So I'm recommending.
Am I allowed?
Joe, it's fine. I haven't even started my job, and I recommended it.
What is the recommendation?
Get a job.
Yeah. My recommendation is get a job, or if you're in a job you don't like, look for greener pastures. Also, the job market's awful at the moment, so I really hope you can get a job and you can live and be happy.
Yeah, that's nice. Anyway, I made a reference to I made a reference to this earlier.
Book?
Yeah, it's the book that discusses slurs. So it's about speech. It's called Algo Speak: How Social Media is Transforming the Future of Language. It's been on my reading list for ages. It's by Adam Alexic, who is big on YouTube as far as I know. He talks about speech and linguistics, and as someone who works with kids and is very online, especially after this last 2 weeks of researching it and being on all fucking social medias all the time, it is fascinating how Adam Alexic writes about how speech has transformed through the internet and how,
Oh, I've seen this guy. Yeah.
Like how words like slurs have developed, our usage of certain terms. It's just very interesting to me, especially as someone who's already interested in linguistics. It's very positive. It doesn't immediately just go, kids these days are fucked because of the internet.
They are, though.
Yeah, they are, but it speaks more genuinely about how language develops. So if you have any interest in linguistics, in sort of cultural development through social media, I'd recommend it. I'm about halfway through it. Fascinating. It's also
I assume it was published pre-6-7.
I think so. It was published last year, so it might have just been on the cusp. I imagine so.
They'll add DLC.
But genuinely, reading like starting a book and just being hit with like the chapter titles is just so fucking funny. Like chapter 2 is called Sticking Out Your Gat for the Rizzler, but it's a genuinely really interesting analysis of like nonsense language. One chapter I haven't got to yet is a word-pilled slang maxing. But it's another chapter about, because algo speak means algorithmic speaking. So it talks about how people have gotten used to algorithms. Obviously, it probably talks about AI and things like that.
It's interesting how you're saying this, because weirdly, this ties in, because like I have a very big passion for the Beatles.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound insane.
No, I let you cook.
I listen to like a lot of like interviews and stuff they've written, and the way they communicated with each other was basically it's similar to the like way children speak through internet lingo, but obviously they're quoting from the stuff from their time period, a lot of radio shows, a lot of very specific 1950s comedians. And in like one of their documentaries, when they're just like they're having like a laugh, they're referencing a bunch of things. It's gobbledygook to like our generation. But once I saw someone like pull out being like, oh, this is a reference to this and this and this, and when you lay it all out in its context, it's just like, oh, that makes sense, and is actually like quite funny once you understand it.
It's like how talking to me would be impenetrable if you've never seen The Simpsons.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's something that he speaks on in Algo Speak, of just stuff like this has always been happening. It just is happening faster now.
Yeah.
So if you have any interest in that, I really recommend picking it up.
We're just proving Anthony Burgess right every day.
Pretty much. But Viv, what's your recommendation?
Vidigat.
I'm recommending the films of Shinya Tsukamoto, the guy who does Tetsuo the Iron Man, Tetsuo the Iron Man 2, Body Hammer, and a bunch of other insane films. He's great. He's not only the director, he edits, produces, often stars in them.
Yeah.
The level of dedication this man has put into his work is astounding, and there's some of the most stylistically diverse films I have ever seen. The amount of effort and creativity that man is able to pull into every frame of his film, like, confounds me. I've seen like 6 films.
Are you sure?
Yes. You almost got Algo Speaked.
Not one more.
I've seen about 6 of his films, and there's like a connecting tissue with how he films things. But there's so much creativity. I love his body of work so much.
Do any of the others end like Tetsuo 2 did?
Surprisingly, yes.
Hell yes.
I mean, those have been on my watch list for a while, so that's great. I'll definitely check out this other stuff.
Cool. Well, I
also watch A Snake of June with your family. It's A Snake of June. I'll show you a scene later.
Okay.
We're talking about it.
That's the final recommendation for
from me.
The season? Okay. Well, if you do want to follow us on social media, we are on TikTok and Instagram at All Hail the King Podcast. Should we join any other social media platforms? Probably not. I don't want to join Twitter.
Threads is big right now, according to someone.
Threads is big right now. Is
There's
it big?
Call out. He knows who he is.
Yeah, I don't know. If there are other platforms where, you think we should make a page? Oh, you on Facebook? No.
But Brothers Podcast has a Facebook page.
If you think we should join,
maybe we should. I'm guessing like a large quantity of Stephen King fans are in fact elderly.
Well, I haven't been posting these episodes, but I used to post them in Stephen King Facebook groups, so I think a Facebook page might be a good idea.
Cool, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll set up a Facebook page by the time we get to the next episode. You can also like us there. Give Mark Zuckerberg all your money. Buy those Meta glasses with cameras in them.
I mean, we have an Instagram. We're already giving Mark Zuckerberg our money.
Yeah.
If you want to follow the show so you can get notified when new episodes are out, we are on all the major podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Audible, YouTube. Wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. All Hail the King Podcasts. We're also on YouTube at Pod One Out Studios. There you can find Joe and Viv's other podcast, First Time Flyers. I think you're in the middle of your video game season.
We'll be close to the end of it. Yeah.
You doing? Is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you'll have Pokemon would be out the day before this.
Yeah. And then it's coming to the end with The Last of Us. So talking about video games, the first episode of video game shows.
Yeah. And when a new season of this starts, a new season of your show will also be starting. I don't know if you have
We haven't yet
we
decided
don't know
what
what
that's
it
going
is
to be.
yet, but some sizzle. Check it out, and if you're on those podcasting platforms, obviously give this a thumbs up, a like, follow us, 5 stars. All those things that are available there. If you're
Like
on YouTube,
this video.
hit the hype button.
What the fuck is the hype button?
Well, you hit the hype button 3 times to people, so people are like, oh, I'm hyping this. I'm on the hype train.
I've never seen this button.
I
saw it the other day, and it was just like, do you want to spend like 90 credits to hype this? And I was like, what's a credit? What do you mean? I got scared, so I just left.
Anyway, join our YouTube memberships and Patreon. We'll have them one day in the future. Fucking, I don't know.
Should we do merch? Do you want a hat? Do you want a mug?
We have merch. We have one piece of merch that only one person owns.
Well, there's one All Hail the King hat. There's 2 First Time Flyers mugs.
Yeah.
So,
we do need to make mugs.
Yeah, maybe I'll set something up. It's a new season, fresh start. We can do
sell out.
Yeah, sell out.
Welcome to the selling out season of All Hail the King.
And to start selling out, what are we talking about next episode?
Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Well, before we do that, also Pepsi. I just wanted to say that new episodes are out at 10 a.m. every other Saturday. We do take 2 weeks for these episodes because Joe does have to read a beefy book.
Not next episode, I don't have to. Or the episode after, I got a little fucking break as a reward for reading it again.
And this is a kiss for you.
Yeah. So we are going to be starting our next season with the 1980s Creepshow movie. Ooh. And as it's a anthology, we're not doing those as a season, so we're not going to be going straight from Creepshow to Creepshow 2. Because they're anthologies, we can come to them at any time. So yeah, we'll start off with Creepshow, and then we'll be moving on to some more stuff. So stay tuned if you want to listen to us talk about that. I am very excited. We've spoken about George Romero in the past. We're finally getting to talk about one of his movies.
I spoke about him this episode.
We did, yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, we just want to say thank you for listening. And if you've been here for a while, thank you. Your continued support really does help. And if you do want to get in touch with us, we do have the emails. They're always open. You can send your thoughts on any Stephen King adaptation. And if we do get a bunch of them, we'll start adding another segment where we have like a mailbox.
Reach out. Viv and I were talking about this before you arrived today, Garen, that we were very interested to know if people are listening week to week or dipping their toes in. So just reach out and say hi.
Yeah.
If you're this far, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if you want to bully Joe, do it as well, because we do it.
In fact, do it to Garen. I think he has too big of an ego, and I think he needs to deflate a bit.
Yeah, to be fair, I do.
Yeah. One day this fandom will grow big enough and they'll be like, these two are too mean to Joe, and they'll like babeify me, and when there's like always the one guy, it's like, oh, he's too good for this world. Please don't do that with me. I am a girl.
You created a construct in your head. It's just like, no, don't do
I
this.
think they're going to bully you for that.
Egomaniac.
Please. No, you're not going to cut that.
I think they're going to dislike Joe the most because Joe's been in every episode, whereas I'm not on First Time Flyers, and you've had a few episodes off.
That's true.
I don't remember if I said this on mic, but I have openly said to at least one of you before, I'm genuinely afraid that we would cultivate some sort of fandom and they would hate me.
Oh, yeah. You got bright red.
Yeah,
sorry.
But you could have a fan like Viv, just like, I really hate his work, but Woody Allen's so good.
At least I have interests.
Yeah.
Oof. Never mind, there won't be a season 3. We're fighting.
Yeah.
Well, if we don't fight, we'll see you
in
2 weeks' time for Creepshow. Until then, we don't really sign off with anything, do we?
Just keep kicking.
Just keep kinging. Just keep kinging. No.
Just keep kicking.
Look, I accepted recommendations. I'm not doing
Ring king.
I'm just going to say goodbye.
I think we should keep going for like another 1 minute 30 seconds.
I mean, they'll get it out. Fair enough.
Fine.
You say you just keep. Let's think
straight up.
Let's think of an outro.
Until then, keep straight up joking it, and by it we mean Stephen.
I do quite like that.
King Kong, the rich is dead.
King
Kong ain't got shit on me.
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Goodbye and happy King.
Goodbye, Yellow King Road.
Very good.
No, it isn't.
King. Don't forget
you sound schizophrenic.
If you liked it, then you should have put a king on it.
That's pretty good. King Julian.
King Julian.
King Julian.
I like to write it. I like to write it.
This is what happens if you record for 4 hours.
You should keep this in.
Physically fit.
King,
oh, sugar honey iced tea.
Can you put this in as a post-credit scene?
Ring a king.
You know who has the hardest job tonight? Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses...
Oh, no, he's doing the impressions.
He can't win.
He's doing the impression.
Look, I'm not going to break about my Quentin Tarantino impression.
Where are you going?
Have we done 4 hours?
Oh, Richard. No, we got 20 seconds.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Somebody else. Vamp.
We don't have to say anything.
I got up and went to slap Karen as a bit, but he didn't do the Richard.
Uh-oh. Richard.
Fantastic.
Uh-oh.
I'm sat back down now. I'm not getting up to hit you.
Physically fit.
Physically fit.